Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilmember Kaplan. Here. Councilmember Dickinson. Councilmember Pluckybaum. Councilmember Maple.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Garrow will be here momentarily. Councilmember Jennings. Here. Councilmember Vang.
Here.
We expect Mayor McCarty momentarily, and Mayor Pro Tem, excuse me, Vice Mayor Talamantes.
Here.
Thank you. You have a quorum.
Thank you. Councilmember Kaplan, will you please lead us in the land acknowledgement and pledge allegiance?
Please stand if you're able. This is in honor of Sacramento's indigenous people and tribal lands. To the original people of this land, the Nisenan people, the Southern Maidu, the Valley and Plain Miwok, the Patwin-Wintun people, and the people of Wilton Rancheria, Sacramento's only federally recognized tribe. May we acknowledge and honor the Native people who came before us and still walk beside us today on these ancestral lands by choosing to gather today in the active practice of acknowledgement and appreciation of Sacramento's indigenous people's histories, contributions, and lives. Please remain standing. Pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you so much. All right, so today we do not have any presentations, so we're moving straight into the consent calendar. Council members, what would you like to, Councilmember Vang, what items?
Can I ask Madam City Attorney if you have a report out from closed session?
Oh, oops, sorry.
Yes, the mayor and councilman in closed session do confer with their labor negotiator, and there's nothing to report out.
Okay, wonderful. Councilmember Vang, what items?
Thank you, Vice Mayor. I like to make a comment on item 1, and then for item 4, I like to provide direction to city staff.
Wonderful. Councilmember Dickinson?
Items
2 and 7. Okay. Anyone else? Seeing none. Clerk, do we have any public comment?
Yes, I do have 5 speakers on the consent calendar, and I'd like to read into the record that for item 5, the restricted parking area boundaries have been modified. It was originally published that the northern boundary of the area will be N Street. That has been revised and republished this afternoon, and the northern boundary will be P Street. So our speakers, first is Jeffrey Tardigia, Janine Lewis, Keon Bliss. Mr. Tardigia, would you like the microphone? Thank you.
I'm sorry. Jeff Tardigia, advocate. I'm speaking to the item 3 dealing with the approval of the American Disability Act public right-of-way prospective plan. There's other things that are also going on. And again, it's hard to read the reports. Other agencies have been provided in the back of the room so you can physically read the report. You used to have a machine in the back corner of what was actually physically going on the agenda for the day. That's my public comment is you know, you don't have, and you have still on the website things that need to be updated and changed. That's my public comment.
Thank you. Janine Lewis. Following Janine is Keon Bliss, Sylvia Navari, and Rose Robertson, Brian Fuller.
Good afternoon to the mayor in his absence. My name is Janine Lewis, and I'm honored to introduce myself as the newly appointed District 8 Community Police Review Board Commissioner. I sincerely thank Councilmember Vang for this opportunity and for trusting me to serve the community that we both care so deeply about. I'm addressing item 4. I'm excited to support the Commission's 2025 work plan with particular focus on establishing a joint workshop with the City Council to align on priorities and build a stronger collaboration, reviewing SPD's resource allocation to promote equitable and efficient use of public safety resources, and evaluating public engagement programs, including the Drive Safe Sacramento and youth-centered outreach. These priorities reflect our shared vision of a city that values transparency, equity, and meaningful community engagement. I look forward to listening, learning, and doing the work needed to build trust and accountability across Sacramento. Thank you again for the opportunity to serve, and I'm honored to be a part of the journey forward. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Keon Bliss.
Members of City Council, I'm urging you to not only approve the Police Review Commission's annual report and 2025 work plan, but I'm also urging you to take action on one particular recommendation out of more than 186 recommendations that have been approved and submitted to you since 2018. That would be our recommendation to take an immediate action and order an independent audit of the Sacramento Police Department's overtime policies, practices, and expenditures, which is listed under Appendix G in the full report that you all should have received, but unfortunately is not listed in today's staff report. Given the city's projected budget deficit and current economic uncertainties caused by the current federal regime, it's critical that we take action to make sure that our taxpayer dollars are actually being used in the efficient and appropriate manner as is intended. And unfortunately, based on our research on the commission, the city has paid over $158 million in overtime just to the Sacramento Police Department since 2012, with at least 81% of that amount occurring just since 2016. And among the top overtime expenditures that were considered in fiscal year 23 and 24 included things like backfilling the complaint desk at a staggering $1.1 million, court appearance times at over $779,000, and impact teams at over $738,000. Most troubling, too, is that several dozen SAC PD employees have reported overtime exceeding 70% or even 100% of their base salaries. Despite the staffing shortages, most employees are underutilized. And then there are some that have been able to double their base salaries just using overtime pay alone. For these reasons alone, this really demands an urgent attention from the city auditor.
Thank you for your comments. Your time is complete. Our next speaker is Sylvia Navari. Thank you for your comments, Sylvia. Following Sylvia is Rose Robertson, then Brian Fuller. Sylvia speaking on item 5.
Thank you. I'm speaking on behalf of my 30-plus residents who opted out of this proposal. I have to say on their behalf, most of us were outraged that this proposal we were not asked our opinion, anything, so that's said. But the main reason that this proposal does nothing to mitigate any potential problems posed by Channel 24. I sent a letter to each of you talking about the reasons. Channel 24 events don't start until at the earliest 7 p.m. Why you would have a proposal to reduce parking restrictions to 1 hour from 8 a.m. all day long doesn't make any sense, and it poses an undue burden on residents. We have guests, we have friends drop by. Yes, we can get parking permits, go online, but that is a burden. You know, I have 5 friends drop by. I don't have time to go online and get parking permits. So really, and I have to say this, your parking, the partnership between the city and Channel 24 to secure parking within the half-mile radius of Channel 24, I think will really solve this problem. There's no problem. There's no problem parking in Midtown, particularly during the day in this area. We can't make customers of Channel 24 buy parking spaces. But Channel 24, if they don't buy parking spaces and they park on the street and get tickets, you know.
Thank you for your comments. Your time is complete. Thank you for your comments. Our next speaker is Rose Robertson. Thank you for your comments. Your time is complete. Rose Robertson, please. Then Brian Fuller.
Hello, my name is Rose Robertson, and I'm here to comment on the restricted parking changes. As a resident, I'm obviously concerned with the size of the venue that went into a residential area without them considering a parking garage. I'm kind of torn between whether I'm in favor of this or not. I agree with Sylvia that 1 hour parking before 5 or 6 o'clock seems extreme and unnecessary, especially for people who don't work during certain normal hours and have friends over. At the same time, I totally understand. I don't want to have to come home to my house and have no parking and be parking a mile or two away. So I just want to make sure whichever way it ends up going, that things are properly considered. Right now, I think households get 1 guest pass. If you change it to be 1 hour, I definitely think the no parking is not necessary at all. But if you change it, I think that needs to be addressed where households can get more than 1 permanent guest placard, not where I have to sign up the day of to get it. But in addition to that, I want to make sure there's a process, or that you guys are considering protocols for what will be done when people have events. Like I have summer barbecues, I have an annual fall party. I think I was told there are times where you can go in and register licenses. I'm not going to be getting license plate numbers from all my guests or having them move their car every hour. So I don't know if there's something that you guys are considering for that, where maybe we can register ahead of time and get event passes that we can print out that are good for a 24-hour period that I can give to my friends. But I'm just hoping that all aspects are being considered if we do restrict the time, which, like I said, I'm very conflicted on whether that will benefit or be worse for us living there. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Brian Fuller, Tim Schmetzler, and then Kevin Petrick.
Hi there, good evening. My name is Brian Fuller. I'm coming to this a little bit cold in terms of the consent calendar and agenda, but was pretty surprised that the Community Police Review Commission annual report is on consent. Hopefully I'm missing something. I'll run through kind of the different data points as I understand them. Right now, the city has an estimated deficit of $62 million in 25-26, and an operating deficit increasing to $130 million by 28-29, numbers that don't account for potential losses in federal funding. The largest department in the city is the police department, with last year's overtime for the department greater than the total budget for all but 4 other departments in the city. The top vote getter in last month's budget survey on expense reduction options amongst city services was the police department. And by a stroke of luck, we have an up-to-date 50-page report that has done a data-driven, programmatic analysis of the programs and functions of the department, and the council has chosen to not discuss it publicly. Admittedly, I'm not that familiar with the city's budget process, but I've been involved with the state budget process for roughly the last decade. I've testified to the legislature. I've defended sensitive proposals from the administration, and I've reviewed dozens, if not hundreds, of agendas from policy committees and budget subcommittees across both houses. I cannot think of a more egregious, we'll call it clerical, decision to leave an item on consent than this. As part of this exercise to close the budget deficit, I understand departments were tasked with identifying potential reductions and ordering them from low to high impact. I read that 3 of the 4 low impact proposals that the SACPD proposed as the first ones they would offer up in meeting their reduction target. Deleting a net of 1 position for the Traffic Enforcement Division to save $221,000. Deleting 3 community service representatives from patrol operations to discontinue programmatic support of community engagement programs, and eliminating funding for the youth and family investments.
Thank you for your comments. Your time is complete. Our next speaker is Tim Schmetzler on item 5, then Kevin Petrick on item 5.
Good afternoon. I'm Tim Schmelzer. I live at 1504 24th Street, and I'm commenting on item 5 regarding the Channel 24 parking. First thing I want to say is I'm really supportive of this music venue and excited. In fact, I've already bought tickets to 3 of them, and I think it's a great thing for Sacramento. Number 2, I am equally as discouraged and really take umbrage with the fact that the parking restriction shrank today at 156, eliminating protections literally from my block, which I'm kind of upset about. I think the original lines were fine. But I do have some issues with the proposed 1 hour parking thing. I'm pretty much in direct alignment with the previous speaker here. I think the hours 8 to midnight are pretty extreme. I think they should be aligned more with when you can expect patrons to actually be at the venue. Something like 5 or 6 to midnight seems much more appropriate to me. And then secondarily, I really would like some sort of exception process for when residents host events, parties, anything like that. I have a great charitable Christmas party every year where I probably have like 30, 40 guests come over. I'd hate for them all to get tickets, you know? So some reasonable process for that. I'd really like you to reconsider this change that happened at 1:56 p.m. today. A lot, that one in particular, and to consider shrinking those hours. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you for your comments. Kevin Petrick on item 5 is the last speaker on the consent calendar.
Speaking on item 5, I just wanted to thank you for taking up this item. It's hugely important to our region. Many of us, including myself, moved to Sacramento after living in places like Washington, Philadelphia, New York, because it's an up-and-coming city. We want it to grow, and we need some of our parking restrictions to also grow with it, not to hide our heads in the sand. If you look at the website of the venue, they say parking available in the neighborhood, still to this day. So I'm looking forward to a vote and also how we deal with this. Just a no vote basically means we're allowing the venue to continue operating and basically overwhelm the neighborhood. So I think there's a lot of great suggestions, whether it's after 5, 1 hour, but the difference is we need actually action on it, not something that's going to wait 6 months. My wife and I have a toddler. We need to be able to bring him home after swim lessons and be able to park in the neighborhood. So I encourage you guys to actually take action and not just let it go. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. We have no more speakers on the consent calendar. Councilmember Vang, you had comments on 1 and 4. If you want to take both?
Yes, I can take both. For comments on item 1, I just wanted to say congratulations to Kim Stevens and also Junior Gores, who we are appointing to the Ann Land Memorial Funds Commission, and Kim Stevens to the Measure U. Kim Stevens, which she's appointed to the Ann Land Memorial Fund, and Junior, who was originally the appointee in District 7, and after it got redistricted, he will be officially representing District 8 on the Measure U committee. So really just wanted to say thank you to our 2 great community members who's stepping up to serve on the commission. And then for item number 4, item number 4 is the City of Sacramento Community Police Review Commission 2024 Annual Report and Work Plan. And I just really first wanted to take this time to thank all of our commissioners from 2024, past and current members, really just for all your hard work, and really great to see my commissioner who came today, who did not work on the work plan, but is eager to, basically build on the work plan. So I'm really excited about that. I just wanted to comment that I know that all of our commissioners don't get paid to do this, and they spend their time and expertise really to provide these very important recommendations. And I would have loved to see this item come as a discussion item instead of a consent item. And in particular, the reason why, because I think it's so important as I'm reviewing the annual report of the various recommendations that was made in 2024. And I think it's really important as a council that we discuss if we're going to, 1, either accept or implement these recommendations, 2, reject their recommendation and explain why, and then 3, or find a solution that works with the commission and the council, right? And I think having that loop around is really important. I often think about our active transportation commission, right? I think one direction we provided was to add a budget to that and ask city staff, what can we move forward with? What are some of the low-hanging fruits? And I feel like we should do the same to our police commission as well. And so I wanted just to share that. I think that's really important. But since this is not a discussion item and it is on consent, I like to just provide two direction to city staff because I believe we could do that on consent items. So the first direction is actually to our city auditor. In the 2024 annual report, commission report, under strategic planning and budget management recommendation, there were 3 key recommendations that the commission provided, and you'll find them on page 35. In particular, I like to just highlight or uplift one of the recommendations because I know there's lots of recommendations, but this one in particular is of importance to me, just given our budget deficit and the conversation we're having around budget and vacancies. One of the recommendations is to conduct a complete audit of SACPD's overtimes policy, practices, and expenditures. And I would like to request that the city auditor add this to her work plan. Now, I believe the city auditor already went to budget and audit, and she's planning to come to council with her work plan for consideration for the mayor and the council to vote on it, right? And so I would like that this piece to be added to her work plan, and we can debate if we want her to continue this part of her work with her team. And so that's my first direction. And then the second direction, I'm going to look to the mayor on this because I might need help on this direction. It goes back to the report. I like to figure out how staff, and I don't know who's staffing the police commission at this moment, but I like for us to find a way to have staff actually circle back on the status of each recommendation. That's really important. And so I guess my direction, in addition to the auditor, is that we have to figure out some way to do a loop around. If we choose to reject the recommendation, we have to explain why. And I'm looking at the mayor because I don't know who staffed the police commission. But I think it's really important that there is some answer. I mean, as of right now, I believe there is no one, or maybe that's 0. So I think that's something that I like to flag, right? That as we move forward with this work plan, it's so important because so many of our commission do have, city staff that supports them. And so we need to figure out a pathway in order to make sure that this work plan actually comes to fruition and that these recommendations are not just sitting virtually on our shelf. And so that's the second recommendation, is to direct city staff to find a city staff to actually be appointed to the commission so that they can come back to us and let us know, like, what's the status on these recommendations. I think if we value our commissioners and the work that they do, we owe it as a council to either accept, implement, reject, explain why, or find a solution moving forward. And so those are my 2 directions on this item. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember. Councilmember Dickinson on 2 and 7.
And if I may, I'm going to sneak a word in on item 1. We're going to with our action tonight, appoint Samaya Caraveo, who's here tonight, to the Youth Commission. So since she came down, I thought we ought to give her a little recognition, a little love. I'm very pleased to offer her up for appointment this evening. On item 2, I just wanted to express thanks and appreciation. This is a change order, not something normally we might comment on, but these are the kinds of improvements that will help pedestrians, help cyclists, and ultimately help motorists. This is a stretch of very fast-moving street along El Camino in North Sacramento, where pedestrian safety is not guaranteed by any stretch. And so these are the kinds, we've spent a lot of time talking about pedestrian and cyclist safety and trying to improve that across the city. This is an example of work that's being done in that regard, and so I wanted to make sure that we just gave it a little bit of a spotlight tonight. And then on item 7, this is suspending competitive bidding for the North Sacramento Hagenwood Library. I think every member of this council is probably well aware of how long this has been in the making, how much it is looked forward to by the residents of the community. It can't happen too soon, and we'll try to make it come to fruition even faster than might be anticipated at this moment. But this is an important step this evening, so I want to express my thanks again to the library authority staff and the city staff for moving this expeditiously and even more expeditiously along. Thanks.
Thank you.
So that concludes council comments. Thank you. Councilmember Pluckybon?
Thank you. Can I get Stacy or Matt? Thank you. About on the parking restrictions while you're coming up, the questions are, what can we do to allow for sort of bulk permits for guests? What can we do to modify this after the fact if these changes aren't achieving the result that we're trying to accomplish? And what's the process for folks to engage if they're unhappy with the parking restrictions in the neighborhood?
Yeah, absolutely. Stacy Hovermill, Parking Services Division Manager. Good evening, Mayor, council members. So we currently have a 24-hour printable guest pass that's available to anybody that has an existing residential parking permit. So you can go online and print up to 10 passes per month at no cost, and you print them out and they can go on the dash of the visitors' cars. As for bulk reservations or bulk parking for events, we do what we call limited enforcement. And so if somebody is having an event for a holiday or a large celebration, they can contact our office or 311, and we will work with them to do limited enforcement so that we're not ticketing their family members and their guests that are parking in the neighborhood. And as for residents that are not happy with the changes or would like to see something different, I'm actually going to be available right after the consent item with my card to answer any questions for anybody. But it's a very simple process if somebody wants to change what is being proposed on their street, or if they would like to propose different restrictions on their street. So it's a petition process, very simple, does not require us to have to go back to council. We're here because we're taking this as a proactive approach with Channel 24 coming, so.
Thank you, Stacy.
No problem.
The area that you see on the map that we're proposing these restrictions for was negotiated. It was originally a larger area. There were some uses on the outer edges of that boundary that would have been incompatible with that 1 hour restriction, which is why we brought back the smaller area. If it turns out that, we need to come back and adjust to accommodate, your neighborhood, sir, or any other areas out, we'll work with you to make sure that you're getting the parking protections that you need. Thanks, Stacy.
One more question for you, Stacy. What was and I defer to the parking division and the council member who spent a lot of time on this. We had a big community meeting a couple weeks ago and came to a resolution that had the majority of the people pleased by it, but not always, of course. What's the reason for the hours that not, you don't just start at 8 a.m. versus later in the evening and 8 p.m. versus earlier, like 5 or 6 p.m.?
Sure. So the current parking restrictions in most of these streets is 8 a.m. to 10 p.m.
1 hour.
2 hour parking. That's the current parking restriction. And what we were proposing is to change that to a 1 hour parking restriction and extend it to midnight to support the late night parkers for the venue. That way there's parking available for residents and their guests. So they're currently already restricted from 8 a.m. to 10 p.m. We're just changing it from 2 hours to 1 hour.
So if someone come at 8, they couldn't sneak in there and get a pass that night?
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because of the pre-existing 8 to midnight?
Correct.
Gotcha. Okay, thank you. Okay, we have a motion, a second on the consent calendar. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any noes or abstentions? Seeing, hearing none, the consent calendar passes unanimously. Next item.
So Mayor, we move to public hearings. Item number 8 is an ordinance amending various provisions of Title 17 of the Sacramento City Code relating to off-site vehicle parking requirements.
All right, good evening, Mayor and council members. I'm Ryan Dodge, Associate Planner with the Community Development Department. So removing minimum vehicle parking requirements builds on a series of parking reforms that the city has implemented over the past 12 years, culminating in Assembly Bill AB 2097, which was effective January 2023. And that bill encouraged housing production by prohibiting minimum parking mandates within a half mile of what the state defines as a major transit stop, which covers 44% of the city. So in February 2024, City Council approved the 2040 General Plan, which included a new citywide policy that ended minimum off-street vehicle parking mandates. So currently, the city code shows minimum parking requirements. This ordinance has been prepared specifically to clean up the city code to make it consistent with the general plan. Removing minimum off-street parking mandates does not mean that developers will not supply parking on the property. Developers continue to supply parking in most cases because there is a demand for parking in most areas of the city. So the general plan is implemented through zoning, specific plans, and other city plans and programs. The city needs to ensure that city codes, ordinances, and other policy documents are consistent with the city's general plan. And again, at this time, the city code still shows minimum parking requirements. This ordinance has been prepared specifically to clean up the city code to make it consistent with the general plan. Staff recommend that the council approve the environmental review resolution and the ordinance to remove minimum off-street vehicle parking requirements from the code to ensure consistency with the 2040 general plan. And I'm happy to answer any questions. Thank you.
Mayor, I have one speaker on this item, Mac Worthy.
Whoever wrote this is poor, right? Explain what is off-street parking. Off-street parking is parking in my driveway. That's off-street parking. If somebody got a lot somewhere and they want to park on it, they have a right to park on that lot. Off-street parking, you're saying off-street, what you mean by off-street parking? Explain some things instead of just throwing something out there. We know what parking was first to do the arena. That the worst problem ever happened, to build the arena, parking. But nobody told them that if you take your ticket to the courthouse, that thing is split. You don't get the full price. You don't even explain that to people. If you protest, I had a friend protested, and he won and never paid nothing for it. Parking ticket. It's been problems about that space for years. Who owns from the curb to the sidewalk? Yes. So, do things just for that they can help people instead of just writing something out there because you know you're going to make a few dollars, but nobody going to protest it because people don't have the money here. See, this is a city that's very welfare. The plans for the city is to be on welfare. They can't afford the attorneys. We're looking for a good civil, constitutional attorney right now.
Thank you for your comments. Mayor, I have no more speakers on this item.
Thank you. A motion?
Yeah, if there's no speakers or comments, I'll move the staff recommendation.
Okay.
Does that include opening and closing the public hearing?
It does, if that was part of the staff recommendation.
Thank you.
Yeah, we have a motion and a second. I just note that I'm in full support of this, and we passed a state law codifying what Sacramento had done 10 years ago, and we're a pro-housing city because of policies like this. And I'm just looking at the background here. In 2013 is my final year on the council, and this was a wild idea. And the notion that the Central City would become absolute chaos if we adopted this, and it shows that it did not. There's a lot of parking garages from the private sector that we're able to utilize. Property managers and property owners, or people just figure out other options. And so if it had become a major problem, we would know about it and adjust. But this seems to be working, and more importantly, allowing us to build more housing. And we're not building nearly enough. We're going to hear in the items coming up in a little bit, but this is a piece of the puzzle. So, motion a second. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any noes or abstentions? Hearing none, item passes.
For the record, Council, Vice Mayor Talamantes, we just voted on item 8. Thank you. So that's unanimous, Mayor. We move to item number 9, city participation in the Bond Opportunities for Land Development Program.
Good evening, Mayor McCarty and council members. Eric Frederick with the Finance Department. The item before you is a public hearing regarding the city's participation in the Bond Opportunities for Land Development, or BOLD program. City participation in the BOLD program was suggested through the Streamline Sacramento initiative that you will be receiving an update on later this evening. BOLD program is offered by the California Municipal Financing Authority, or CMFA, as a means to finance the construction of public infrastructure through the issuance of bonds. These bonds are issued by a Melrose Community Facilities District formed by CMFA and represent an alternative to a city-formed district and bond issuance. The city is already a member of CMFA and is therefore entitled to participate in this program. Developers can utilize the BOLD program to finance development impact fees and public infrastructure required of their projects. It offers competitive interest rates and low financing costs. All district formation and bond issuance activities are managed by CMFA, resulting in minimal city staff costs, and those staff costs can be fully reimbursed through the program. Lastly, the BOLD program is similar to the Statewide Community Infrastructure Program, or SCIP, that the city has participated in since 2017, so procedures are already in place for the city to manage this type of program. Staff's recommendation is to conduct the public hearing and upon conclusion, adopt the resolution before you authorizing the BOLD program to be utilized within the city's boundaries. Staff and representatives from BOLD are available to answer any questions. Thank you.
I have two speakers on this item. First is Mac Worthy, then Chris Valencia.
"18 years ago, I told you about bonds. You never explained bonds to poor folks. How many people in this country buy those bonds? And why they buy those bonds? They get them tax-free. How many countries out of America buy those bonds? It's the same way, people, is you hawking the property. You can deal with what I tried to get the previous mayor. Sit down with the people instead of race equity and let them know property equity. We can set up a broker to put a lien on as many people that have $50,000 to $200,000 equity, and it wouldn't cost you nothing to build all the low-income housing you want. When the project is accepted, that lift off, and you got a deputy. All you have done here is program. People, it don't make sense. It gonna be here when you gone, and you're talking about 100 years or something, about $600 dough. It's gonna be another 100 years before any people here have a decent income. You are on your way to slavery with people. Yeah, you want to talk about the tariffs from Trump. The man is a brain in business. That's the reason I voted for him twice. People could have went to him. Here, we got what he said is snake in a dog. We got Republicans here, snakes and dogs, because they depended on your bullshit for income.
Thank you for your comments. Chris Valencia.
Hello, Mr. Mayor and members of the City Council. My name is Chris Valencia, and I'm here on behalf of the North State Building Industry Association, representing the home builders and developers throughout Sacramento. I'm here to request that the city authorize the implementation of the Bond Opportunities for Land Development Program, also known as BOLD. This program is designed to facilitate economic growth and development by offering bond financing to support land development projects. BOLD provides an essential source of capital to developers looking to create residential, commercial, or mixed-use developments where we need them most. It's not just housing communities our members are building. Their projects include installation and improvements of roads, utility lines, and public spaces. While the city currently already participates in another Melrose bond program, the BOLD program is another tool in the toolkit that will help the city build housing where it is desperately needed. Without these tools, developers and builders would have to use other financing mechanisms that would result in increased costs to new housing, making the market even more unattainable. Building new communities takes not just a lot of time, but a tremendous amount of financial resources. BOLD allows builders to secure necessary funds with no burden to the city of Sacramento and the ability for the city to be reimbursed for any administrative costs. At a time when we need new housing more than ever, the BOLD program is an important tool to help us achieve this goal together. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Mayor, I have no more speakers.
Okay. Councilmember Dickinson.
Thanks, Mayor. I just had a couple of questions. Oh, there you are. I was just curious, whether there's any difference in financing costs using this approach versus a traditional Mello-Roos.
And by traditional Mello-Roos, mean one formed by the city? Or,
Yes.
Dave, you want to answer that? No. I don't think there's much difference in the cost. It is more, I would say, efficient in a way, time-wise, for developers who use the BOLD program, and there might be some cost savings through that efficiency, but they have to use the same kind of
Okay, so, but the costs that the beneficiaries will pay, the ultimate residents will pay, wouldn't vary at all? There's no interest rate advantages or other?
Dave, I might have to look to you for that, as far as interest rates go, as far as are there pool bonds or?
Same interest rate.
Okay,
Same
yeah.
interest rate, yeah.
Oh, okay, I was just curious, and, it's always nice to have multiple arrows in the quiver.
Right.
To be sure, I was just trying to figure out, after reading the staff report, whether there was something specific that was a real advantage of using this. And to that end, the staff report is very laudatory of this approach. Are there any drawbacks to using it that you identified?
No drawbacks that I can think of. Like I said, it is similar to a program that the city already utilizes, and any staff costs that might be borne from it would be fully reimbursed for the program. So I do not see any drawbacks myself.
Okay. Thank you. Thanks.
Okay, thank you. Councilmember Kaplan?
Thank you, Mayor. I want to thank you and Councilmember Buckybaum for your work on bringing this forward. Just wanting to follow up quickly on the, because currently we have the SCIP program, the State Community Infrastructure Program. Can you just describe, I love having more tools in the toolbox. What's the difference between the SCIP program and the BOLD program?
They are managed by different entities, for one, and I do know that the SCIP program has the ability to also not only do Mello-Roos districts, but they can also form assessment districts. The BOLD program itself only forms Mello-Roos CFDs, but in general, they are very similar programs.
So basically, just clarifying, giving a lot of options, just because I know in D1, SCIP has supported Meritage Homes with the development, like in the Panhandle and other areas. So this, I guess, as we talked about our housing element, we need more ability to get more housing online. So thank you. I'm good with that. If there's nothing else, I'll make a motion to move this.
And Councilmember Kaplan, that includes opening and closing the public hearing?
I was double checking, was this a hearing or not yet?
Yes, it is. Thank you. Mayor, you have a motion by Councilmember Kaplan and a second by Councilmember Talamantes.
Yes, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any noes or abstentions? Hearing none, passes unanimously.
So we now move to the discussion calendar. Item number 10 is Rail Yard Special Sign District.
Good evening, Mayor and City Council members. On November 12th, 2024, the City Council unanimously approved a preliminary term sheet for the development of a soccer stadium for Sacramento Republic FC, the historic Central Shops live entertainment venue, and the rail yards infrastructure. This term sheet includes several terms that require city efforts related to signage, including digital billboards. Within the rail yard specific plan for the historic Central Shops, the entertainment venue, as well as the freeway digital billboards to support the stadium construction. These elements are essential to the overall financial feasibility of the projects. So today, we're here to review and comment on 3 items. The first is the boundaries of the proposed rail yard special sign district. 2 is the boundaries of the 5 sub-districts within the proposed rail yard special sign district. And then number 3, the allowance of 5 or more proposed off-site general advertising digital billboards within sub-district 3. Additionally, Staff is requesting a city council pass a motion directing the interim city manager or designee to prepare an ordinance for city council consideration that establishes the rail yard special sign district, which would allow for digital billboards in line with procedures established in Sacramento Code Chapter 15.148 and the council rules of procedure. It is important to note that the term for off-site freeway-oriented digital billboard program for Indomitable noted in the term sheet is not part of this discussion or motion. This program is covered under an existing ordinance, which will be amended through a separate future process. With that context, I present to you the preliminary boundary for the rail yard special sign district, which is identical to the boundaries of the rail yard specific plan and the rail yards special planning district, marked by the dark dashed line surrounding this. Staff has determined that creating 5 sub-districts within the rail yards special sign district will provide the most flexibility for addressing signage needs in terms of time, place, and manner. As you can see on the screen, the 5 proposed sub-districts are as follows. Sub-District 1, which is in purple, is the Sacramento Valley Station. Sub-District 2, which is the Historic Central Shops, which is in green. Sub-District 3, which is DRV-owned properties in beige. Sub-District 4, which will be Indomitable-owned properties in red. And then finally, Sub-District 5, Kaiser Permanente, which is in blue. Each sub-district is unique, and to meet the city's responsibility under the term sheet, Sub-District 3 is proposed to contain 5 digital billboards for DRV, as outlined in the term sheet and shown here. The 5 areas proposed by DRV are located in purple and are supported by the city's urban design manager, Bruce Monaghan, who is here with us this evening. The final sign locations and sizes will be determined once the sign ordinance is written. During the ordinance development, staff will also provide guidance on the locations of digital billboards, whether on city or private property. At this time, staff requests City Council make a motion directing the interim city manager or designee to prepare for City Council consideration an ordinance establishing the rail yards special sign district that, among other things, allows for digital billboards consistent with procedures established in Sacramento City Code 15.148 and the city and the council rules of procedures in order to fulfill the city's term sheet responsibilities. And I am here if you have any questions.
Okay, public comment?
Yes, Mayor, I have one speaker on this item, Kevin King.
Good evening, Council. My name is Kevin King. I'm the General Manager for Reclamation District 1000, managing the Natomas Basin for flood protection. My district has been working on a digital billboard study for about 1.5 years now, and we are supportive of the rail yard project, and we believe we have 2 sites that may be a good opportunity in support of this sign district, and would request that the boundaries or that the district be, the boundaries of the special sign district be extended to include 2 adjacent sites that we believe could be a really great partnership between the city and the district and support the goals of the city to develop the rail yards. Thank you. Also, submitted a full comment letter on this item that should be available to all of you.
Thank you for your comments. Mayor, I have no more speakers.
Okay, thank you. Councilmember Guerra.
Thank you very much, Mayor. First, I wanted to just thank our city staff on this work, and Mr. Monaghan for his long time work on these issues as well, and wanted to say we've learned a lot from the different sign districts that we have and how we're moving forward to making sure that we have an inviting place, and also not one that just loses its appeal because of oversaturation, but there's appropriate as was mentioned earlier, time, place, and manner. One thing, though, that I do as we move forward, I would encourage, again, that we think through that, how do we make the excitement of this area, because this will be an active area. We obviously have housing and a hospital as well in that area, so I want to make sure that we think that forward as there will be people coming off Amtrak looking for that type of atmosphere, that we encourage that type of tourism and excitement that comes with it. So well, I will say I also support, I think, Mr. King's recommendation here. I don't know if it's appropriate to include it in this motion because obviously the mapping and the sign and the locations are included in this area. I'm willing to make a motion to move to support the staff recommendation and willing to amend that motion to include that area or to direct staff to come back with the other parcels that are identified by RD 1000. But let me ask Mr. Monaghan about whether staff would be prepared to include that at the moment today.
This is the first that I'd heard of a request from the RD 1000 to be included. We'll certainly give it consideration because it was presented here tonight. The purpose of restricting it to the boundaries of the SPD is that we have to be really careful about how we allow digital sign uses to grow in the city. There is, as you mentioned, some economic consideration of saturation, and there's the potential of opening this to everybody wanting something. And so we have to be really careful about boundaries. And when we analyzed this last December, the concept of allowing this through a well-defined sign district that was specifically related to the rail yards and the rail yards activity, the investment made by DRV and the investment made by the city to date, it seemed like the most logical way to go forward was to have these very discrete boundaries that have been established by the special district that we already have. That being said, when we did ESC, there was some interest to expand the boundaries a little bit, and we did that by a block or a half a block. And we've learned a lot from ESC going forward. We've got digital billboards out on freeways. ESC is rather unique. We have an ordinance for large-scale entertainment in other parts of the city. So the opportunity is open. What we would be bringing back to council is enabling ordinances as well as going through the procedures required. And it might be logical to do an early report back as to the significance of maintaining discrete boundaries.
Thank you, Mr. Monaghan. Okay, Mayor and Council, I guess I'll go ahead and move the staff report with the direction that staff come back after conferring with RD 1000 about the most appropriate way to move forward on those issues, but not included in this resolution, but directing staff to make that communication. Is that appropriate, Mr. Monaghan?
Yes.
Good.
Mayor, can I comment on that?
Yes.
Will that be okay? So the properties for RD 1000 that were mentioned were in North Natomas, near a residential area, near a shopping plaza. And so I'm currently working on this and reached out to staff to understand the impact on our city value of our billboards, how it impacts and how many more we have, and then also to reach out to the HOA that neighbors it to make sure that they're okay with it too. So please, let's just move regular staff recommendation.
Okay, noted. Councilmember Pluckybaum. Oh.
Disappeared.
Your name was disappeared. Sorry. Kaplan.
I interrupted the order.
No, it's quite all right. Couple questions. I appreciate all the work that you've done on this to implement since it's come from a term sheet. What is the cost sharing plan for these 5 billboards?
I'll get Marco to answer that.
Good afternoon. So the term sheet wasn't specific in terms of the land control mechanism. So that's a current negotiation and as we kind of finalize the definitive documents that we'll bring forward to council here soon. So that hasn't been determined, but it is a work in progress and an active negotiation.
If I can give you my 2 cents, I know DRV wants this in perpetuity, and, you know, this is city cost time, as well as us coming in. I am open generally. I can tell you on billboards, it may be that they get a majority of the income in the beginning until the project is built, and then, you know, come like 10 years out, the city increases in the amount that they get. But in those 10 years, I still think the city, for time, place, manner, and everything else that comes with it, that should be income coming into the city. So I hope that is partly considered. And then I hope that you also consider with the terms that it is the DRV's owner's responsibility for the most up-to-date technology, because there will be residential around there, and I'm very cognizant on the type of lighting and the reflection that comes in, and that it has to be maintained by owner, just because I know that that's normal. So I expect to see normal terms that in others, while I appreciate DRV, they don't get special consideration on this one. And then with RD 1000, I appreciate, thank you, Councilmember Talamontes. I'm a little concerned about oversaturation with digital, and very mindful of how it affects communities, because the lighting and everything else is of a big nature. It can be taken into consideration, but I'm hesitant that we start expanding a lot of billboards all over the place. But with this, because it is implementing the term sheet, I am fine with that. And I don't know if there was a second, so I'll second that.
Councilmember Pluckybaum seconded that item.
Did you want to speak, Roger?
No, I forgot to second it. Phil did it.
You want to speak?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh,
Gotcha. The list is all messed up here.
Thanks.
Are you back
Thank-
in?
Thanks, Mayor. Thanks for the presentation. This is a question of first impression for me, as one who wasn't here when the term sheet was. What you're asking us to do this evening, and correct me if I'm misstating it, but I infer that what you're asking for is approval of locating 5 or more digital signs in section 3, whatever you call it, section 3 of the special planning district, and that the specific location, the size, the placement, all the other elements of the approval of any signage will be debated and decided subsequently. Is that right?
That is correct.
Okay, I can support that. I will say, for whatever value it has in your own calculations, that I have concerns about billboard blight, and so it becomes very significant as to whether these are elevated or monument, whether they, the dimensions, the lighting and other aspects of it, the locations relative to other uses. Those are all, to me, very, very significant issues, assuming you get past the idea of more billboards. And that seems to be a important condition of the term sheet. So I respect it to that extent. I think it would also be helpful as you develop whatever you're going to recommend to us, for me, to illustrate what you want to have us consider by showing us examples in other locations, if you can find them. I mean, if you look around some of the arenas, for example, they've got digital signage, but some of them are built into the buildings and have other characteristics that may make them more suitable in those instances. I mean, those kinds of things I think are important. So illustrations of what others have done in other places would certainly be helpful from my standpoint. But again, I am somewhat leery of creating a blizzard of billboards, and I'm sure you would say that's not what this will do. But when you leave it open-ended as to 5 or more, that obviously puts no cap on what it would be. So I'll be looking, as one member, I'll be looking at that as well. Thanks, Mayor.
Yeah, I just want to note that I'll concur. The same thing happened a decade ago with the arena and the billboards here, and some are on the side of the arena and walking out, but others throughout the city, and they just diminish the value of our other city billboards, which we get to pay for police and fire and park service. So, you can't have billboards everywhere. I understand if you're putting some of these in the middle of a new entertainment district where no one is currently, those are eyes that aren't seeing anything anyway. But if you put them closer to the freeway, for example, well, that hurts other revenue coming in. It just diminishes the value of these city assets. So we just need to keep that part of the game. So anyway, we have a motion and a second. Yes.
Question to follow up on that, Mayor. I saw the proposed locations, and I'm sorry, I had this when I was driving in. I think what I need to see, because I am concerned about the proposed freeway locations, where is it in proportion to the other ones that are currently right off of I-5? Because I know there's ones north and south, and are those city-owned or not owned?
Hi. So there, as part of including digital billboards on the freeway, there are specific distances they have to be apart and how close they can be together. Roughly, we're looking at about 1,000 feet, and supposedly there's another billboard that's actually coming down as part of this. Again, we're still trying to understand the full breadth of what we're looking at here, and that's why what was shown to you were literally just placeholders until we can go through the process, figure this out, and move it forward.
Okay, that's good to know, because I wasn't sure if that was, and then honestly, one of your considerations when you come back, I appreciate the mayor, because it reminded me, are any of those city-owned, and what would be the potential loss in revenue to us by approving this?
I will make note of that.
Because I think that has to be part of our consideration of how we weigh things.
Yeah, we haven't made a determination yet on the status of property relative to the location of signs. That's an item to be worked out as we go back and through the process here, because we have to create a better understanding of what we're trying to do. We have to develop the restrictions specifically for this kind of signage in this district based on the 2 other ordinances we already have for digital. And then we have to look at the model for how we locate the signs specifically as to what kind of property ownership and how that relates to any term deal. I would note, based on your comment, when we set up ESC, we set it up for a 15-year program. And we did that specifically because we didn't really know how this was going to work. We didn't know if it was a good idea or a bad idea. It just seemed like something we needed to do. We've learned a lot from that, and we've learned some things subsequently. So for this particular program, as we move forward, we weren't planning on putting a limitation on it. So your comment as to perpetuity is correct, because we don't see us creating a restriction where they can no longer have it. Part of that is because these create a revenue stream, and if there is a limit on that revenue stream, they are less viable from an income standpoint. So we've taken that into consideration. So the next 6-8 months is we're going to work through all of those individual processes and conditions of the signage, from hours of operation to the level of lighting, being able to diminish the lighting under certain circumstances. So all of that will be part of the consideration for any ordinance that we bring back specific to the rail yard sign district.
Perfect. Thank you for that extra detail. I would just say I'm interested, the city should be held harmless with any loss of revenues if additional billboards come in.
Correct.
Thank you.
That'll be part of the determination.
Do we have a motion and a second? Yes. Okay, motion and a second. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any noes or abstentions? Hearing none, measure passes unanimously. Next item.
Mayor, we now move to item number 11, which is the 2024 Housing Element Annual Progress Report.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. My name is Greta Seuss. I'm a senior planner in the Community Development Department, and I'm here tonight to present to you our city's 2024 Housing Element Annual Progress Report. Every April, the city is required to submit a Housing Element Annual Progress Report to the state. The report provides status updates on the city's adopted implementation programs and a report out on the housing production numbers for the prior calendar year. The 2021 through 2029 Housing Element Planning Period housing target is 45,580 housing units, which is broken down by income level from extremely and very low income housing to above moderate income housing. This housing target is assigned to the city by the state and is known as the city's Regional Housing Needs Allocation, or RHNA. When we break down that housing target over the 8-year period, we must produce about 5,700 units annually across all income levels, represented by the dotted line on the screen, although it's shown a little bit higher. For some reason, there was a formatting issue. In 2024, we produced a total of 2,387 housing units. This is a 12.7% decrease in overall housing production from 2023 to 2024. In 2024, the city produced 544 deed-restricted units of extremely, very low, and and moderate income units, accounting for about 23% of total production. This graph also shows how market influence and greater economic forces impact housing production. For instance, we saw a large housing boom in 2006 fueled by loose lending restrictions and then was followed by the 2008 market crash and Great Recession. In 2015, we saw markets pick up with a shift towards more infill production in the central city. The COVID-19 pandemic then caused material and supply and labor disruptions, followed by increased interest rates and inflation. We're now seeing a slight decline in rents in the central city due to a boom in infill housing production over the past several years. Now looking forward, we anticipate that overall housing production may be impacted by material costs, impacts from tariffs, and reduced federal funding for affordable housing may impact affordable housing production. This graph shows our 2024 housing production numbers by income level in comparison to our regional housing needs allocation averaged over the 8-year planning period. While we only produced about 42% of our total housing production target, we did see production of housing across all income levels in 2024. This chart shows the number of units produced by income level and includes the breakdown of deed-restricted and non-deed-restricted units. Deed-restricted affordable projects that counted towards our 2024 calendar year numbers are listed here. Examples are Ascent Workforce Housing, Bridge Mixed Use at 440 Arden Way, San Juan Apartments, Home Key Roadway Inn, Kind South, and more. While deed-restricted unit production is critical to ensure long-term affordable housing in our community, we know that we cannot meet our lower income RHNA with deed-restricted units alone, given current funding availability. To meet our lower income housing need through regulated affordable housing only, we would need to secure at least $7.5 billion over the planning period, with the city's portion being about $2 billion. In order for us to meet this tremendous need for lower cost housing, we must build more regulated, affordable housing, but we must also build more lower cost housing that doesn't require subsidy, such as multi-unit housing or accessory dwelling units. This graph shows our ADU production since 2013. The 2024 calendar year showed a 16% increase in ADU building permits over 2023. This shows that we've surpassed our target established in 2021 of 600 ADUs within the planning period by already producing over 1,000 ADUs since 2021. Thus far, 15 ADUs have been constructed using our city-produced free shelf-ready plans. 22 separate building permits have also been issued with these permit-ready plans, and about 20 additional applications have been submitted as well. When looking at the number of units permitted by jurisdiction from 2019 through 2023, Sacramento is the 4th highest producer of housing, and as this graph shows, is the highest producer of housing per capita statewide. Moving on to implementation program updates, this graph shows the number of implementation programs we committed to by time frame. Of the 49 adopted programs from our housing element, we committed to completing over a third of our programs in the short term and about a third are annual and ongoing programs. Thus far, we've completed 15 programs, 12 are in progress, 7 have not been started yet, and 15 are annual and ongoing programs. In 2024, the city completed or made significant progress on the implementation programs listed here. The city eliminated minimum parking requirements through the general plan update and through the item 8 earlier this evening, brought our zoning code into consistency with that as well. And additional modifications to parking requirements will be brought for consideration later this spring. The city adopted modifications to our planning and development code related to permitting requirements for special needs housing, such as residential hotels, emergency shelters, and permanent supportive housing, and also updated our density bonus ordinance for consistency with state law. The city also launched an affordable housing educational campaign with an associated educational website and held 8 citywide workshops across the city. We also have made significant progress on program H24, also referred to now as Streamline Sacramento, which you will hear in the discussion item following this one. And the photo here shows one of those 8 citywide workshops that we conducted as part of our Sacramento for All housing education campaign. The city has also completed many programs in prior years, including the development of a housing development toolkit and ADU resource center, of which a screenshot is shown here. We've made some additional recent accomplishments that were not part of our adopted housing element, including a recent launch of our housing development toolkit map. This map was developed as a resource for the development community to aid in project siting and pre-development, and includes layers such as our general plan land use and floor area ratio designations, zoning, our vacant lot layer, the city's housing element, sites inventory, flood layers, and a newly developed stormwater drainage infrastructure requirement layer that was developed with state planning grant funds. We also recently launched a small developer incubator pilot program in partnership with 2 nonprofits to provide training, networking, and informational opportunities for small developers. We've held 3 very successful events thus far and are looking to host additional trainings and resources through the end of the year. This concludes my presentation, and I'm happy to answer any questions. Thank you.
Public speakers?
Mayor, I have 3 speakers on this item. The first is Mac Worthy. Following Mr. Worthy is Mike Jaskey, then Jonathan Cook.
People will hear stuff, and Mayor, this is your problem. Now, this here could have been in the early meeting. Now, you give this woman a job here, and this is a racial things going on here. Now, she gave, Doja gave 7.5 billion, and she come and said it'll be, the city would be $1 million and something. You can't get that. You can't get there. You see, what you're doing, you're a theater. That's what you're, oh, we're doing this. You can't. You don't have the ability. Then you come down a private neighborhood to teach people how to be a developer. What the hell are you all trying to do here? You got programs that they didn't even mention earlier today in those where master people. And you got a woman stood up here and said, well, we got costs. Don't you have management on ongoing costs, ongoing on how those apartments are taken care of? The street, across the street from me, the lights have burned for 3 years straight through. City-owned apartments. The lights have burned 3 years straight through. All day. And the management is your problem. You got to bring people in here and know how to manage this money. I don't know where you're trying to go. You can get up here and down Trump all you want to do, but that's going to be the difference in America is how people have income. That's business, people. How many people here have a degree in business administration? How many people here have a degree on your staff in development? Who gives them the spread to study your people under you? Who gives them that to study? Do Caldwell bankers come in and say anything to them? Hell no.
Give your comments. Mike Jatzke. Following Mike is Jonathan Cook.
Good afternoon, or evening, actually. Mayor McCarty and council members. My name is Mike Jatzke, representing Sacramento Area Congregations Together, multi-faith, multi-ethnic organization dedicated to social justice. And I reside in Councilmember Guerra's district in the very far east part of Sacramento. I'm going to briefly summarize some of the key points that I sent to you yesterday and that are in the e-comments for public access. First, the city's made some notable changes in its processes of permitting projects, and we understand these changes to be part of the explanation for why the city's relatively good performance compared to other comparable jurisdictions. These changes enabled the city to claim its standing as the first jurisdiction to achieve a pro-housing designation. That's good. And it also received a score in the top 5 out of the 50-plus jurisdictions that have that designation. However, there are still thousands of people who are on the streets and many more who are in shelters, and there are insufficient aggregate number of units to house these people. So we need more. Although the staff report notes that another pro-housing application is due to HCD in July of this year, which Ms. Suze did not mention, there's no discussion in that program description of other additional streamlining measures that might be undertaken and approved by you. This is also an area that is ripe for collaboration with the county. You cannot have large differences in permitting processes given the boundary outline between city and county. We are disappointed that despite a lot of work, that the mixed income housing ordinance is way behind schedule and has.
Thank you for your comments. Your time is complete. Our next speaker is Jonathan Cook. Thank you for your comments. Your time is complete. No, sir, I'm sorry. Please take your seat. Your time is complete. Thank you for your comments. Your time is complete. I continue.
Hello again. Jonathan Cook, Executive Director with the Sacramento Housing Alliance. First, I just want to appreciate and recognize staff for their work on the housing element and for their consistent outreach to community organizations. We want to just emphasize we need to continue investing at low, very low, and extremely low levels of funding to prioritize permanent supportive housing to meet the needs of our lowest income residents in Sacramento. And the city has an obligation to continue to provide affordable housing in a way that the market cannot produce on its own. There are many different housing products and different types of funding for those products to help meet the range of incomes for the city's RHNA requirements. For example, the housing product SHRA typically funds and the Sacramento Housing Alliance nonprofit developer members create are multifamily rentals that usually cover incomes in the 30 to 80% range for AMI and cover families with annual salaries of $35,000 to $85,000 per year. That affordable deed-restricted housing stays affordable for at least 55 years and operates many layers of funding that keeps rents low and make sure that the product of quality, high affordable housing is able to last for many generations. It's typically higher on cost up front, but over 55 years, it can serve thousands of people and is an efficient use of public funding. We encourage including it in the range of housing products that the city prioritizes, and please do consider touring all of these products and communities as they're coming under construction. We have a few opportunities coming up in May with several of our members, and we thank you for your dedication to funding these projects throughout the city and continue partnership with the city council and staff. Thanks.
Mayor, I have no more public comments on this item.
Okay. Thank you. Councilmember Guerra.
Thank you very much, Mayor. I think, this afternoon we had a 2-hour robust discussion about our housing authority and how our needs are on the extremely low income need. And it just reminds me that without repeating that those last 2 hours, the importance of us being able to look at different income levels of housing and being able to build those different products at every level is critical. And yes, there's no question that we need to support our extremely low income and affordable housing projects, which is why we had that entire afternoon conversation. But I do want to take the time to also thank the work of the staff on this. In our staff report in attachment 3, it clearly shows how Sacramento has done so much more. They've exceeded the numbers than San Diego. They've exceeded the numbers of San Jose, Fresno, San Francisco in production. And if I remember a past report, we were neck and neck with Oakland, and Davis skewed the numbers just because there's such a small city that if you develop one unit, you get a high percentage. And even with LA, when you adjust for the per capita, we were still doing well. And not only that, but on the different types of income. So in the staff report as well, the prior attachment, I think it was attachment 2, it also showed the different entry level of income levels. And I'm glad that we're looking at that, because what I see occurring in other parts of our region is the construction of purely 3,000 square foot homes with 4 bedrooms, 2.5 baths, and 3-car garages, which is nowhere an entry level product or nowhere for families to come in and begin some home ownership. So I appreciate the work that we've done to be able to allow the entry into the market to begin with. And not only that, into mortgages that people can manage and afford, but we can only do that through the permitting on that. So I appreciate the work that the mayor and Councilmember Pluckybomber will be discussing after this. The other piece that I want to highlight, again, on the successes is, between our work, and they haven't been singularly, with the community benefits agreement with Aggie Square, with economic development team working on our first-time home buyer program, the projects like San Juan Motel that's under construction right now with our county, and that's a joint city-county project. Mercy Housing Development, Prickly Pear Avenue, that's already in construction. That's a mixture of not only multifamily housing, but also townhome options as well. And right now, the construction of both market rate and deed-restricted low-income housing in one area. I appreciate Councilmember Dickinson's comments about making sure that we're not just overly concentrating, but we're having mixed-income communities, because I think that's an important factor on how we also move forward. It's important to be able to do that in a way that the market supports that. And I'm excited about, today the Law and Ledge Committee, through the leadership of our chair here, moved forward a concept of a revolving loan program. Even though small, I think it's important for us to think about those issues, given the fact that, yes, the report shows that we have a reduction in construction, and so we know that the tariffs are going to hurt our ability to build more We know that the federal administration's decisions are going to affect also how what the Fed does on interest rates, which have been holding us back. So I think it's important for us to be able to figure out what's the best way to create the best market conditions in our city to be able to build those mixed types of products. I'm excited about what we've been seeing and still bullishly seeing on Stockton Boulevard, where we need more housing and housing what's connected to transit. So all to say is, this report here I know gives us at least a little bit of doom and gloom, but I want to take the positive with it, which is that our teams have put together and have been putting together a lot of successes, and also to highlight that I think we've got some good ideas like on this revolving loan program to meet our need. Finally, I'll just say that the housing market is a regional market, and it's based on our workforce demand. So I want us to also be thinking about, okay, what is it that we can be working with our regional partners on this so that they're also thinking about that mixed income. I'm seeing, when I drive on the 50 and all I see is these massive, 3,500 square foot homes, that's not a real solution. Okay, so I do think we need to be thinking about the different types of products that allow people to come into the market and start that home ownership. So with that, I just want to thank staff, take this opportunity because it has been, at least in the last 10 years since I've been here, looking at the changes that we've done. In fact, I remember having a street block party and seeing Greg here discussing about how we changed that discussion. And so I want to thank staff for that level of work because it has changed the way that our city has moved forward on the issue of housing. So thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Councilmember Maple.
Thank you, Mayor. I want to start with saying thank you for a wonderful presentation, Ms. Sousa. There was one point where I was writing a question. I had to cross it out because you answered it right away. So great job. One of the things that I've heard, and maybe this is through the rumor mill, is that are there very many communities in California that are meeting their RHNA goals, if any?
Not very many. The ones that do have very tiny RHNA numbers that are maybe like more rural communities or very far from city centers, things like that. But I don't have the number off the top of my head.
That's completely okay. The point that I'm trying to make is I recognize that this is a challenging thing, and it's something that most communities are struggling with because they're very aspirational goals. And what's the term that you always use, Councilmember Jennings? Big, hairy, audacious goals, that we should have those, of course. We shouldn't be in these positions if we don't have big goals for our communities and things that we want to do. But we also recognize that they're challenging to meet for a reason. There's a lot of barriers, and not all of those barriers are things that we're in control over, right? So we recognize that there are market conditions. That's one of the things we've heard a lot, over the last several years during COVID and beyond, where it's been really challenging to borrow money as a developer. It's challenging to get your construction costs under control, everything else. And so we recognize that those are challenges. And I know that we've been really forward thinking, and that's something I'm excited about. I think looking at some of the things that we've done as a city are far above and beyond what other cities have done. And so I just appreciate the staff time on that. And I just wanted to ask you, this is more of a broad question, but I mentioned some of them, but are there other key barriers for us as a city to achieving those goals?
I think you mentioned the ones that really come to mind: interest rates, construction costs, labor costs, things like that. We are trying to streamline, as you'll hear in the next item, the process to make things as predictable and fast and simple as possible. But those are the main factors, I think. I don't know if Greg.
Just the other issue, and I think the state is starting to take this on, is building code regulations, looking at making sure, it's for health and safety and our environment, benefits our environment, but what are the actual costs, and are they impeding construction? So I think it's important work at that level.
Okay, that's good. That's good to know. And I actually had a wonderful meeting with our new chief building official recently, and that was a key takeaway for me out of that meeting was how much the state building codes impact
what we have to do here locally, and we don't necessarily always have control over that, but we can, as local government leaders, make sure that we're advocating to our state representatives to ensure that we can streamline those, because I think that's a really important part of what we're doing. And speaking of streamlining, maybe that item should have been before this one, because I wanted, it was coming top of mind, especially as I read the SAC Act letter. Thank you for coming and for speaking. The mayor and Councilor Pluckybaum and others have really taken on that charge, and we'll hear about that in a minute. But I think that's a really important component of this too, as we move forward, is how do we make it as easy as possible from the city perspective for someone to build, right? We know that we're in a housing crisis, so just get rid of every, artificial barrier that we can control to make that happen. So I think that's a great thing, and I look forward to talking about that. Another question I have is around penalties. Are there penalties associated with not meeting our goals?
No, there are requirements through SB 35 and AB 423 that require ministerial approval processes for jurisdictions that aren't meeting their RENA, which is basically the entire state. But we already have a city ministerial process that is even more useful to developers. So that's really the only thing that is tied to the RENA allocation and meeting that number. There are no other penalties.
That's good to know. And I think it's important for the community to know too, as you might watch this hearing and go, oh my gosh, we're not meeting our goals. What does that mean? I think that the state also recognizes that they're very audacious goals, and that they just want to push us to do as best as we can. And I know that we're doing that. So just really appreciate all the work, especially really excited about the upcoming work around ADUs. I think that all of these are small pieces of the pie, but when you put them together, they can make a really big difference. And so looking forward to working on that with you, and just appreciate your time. Thanks.
Thank you, Councilmember Kaplan and Dickinson.
Thank you, Mayor. Just to follow up on a couple items, because Councilmember Maple hit most of my questions. So if we look at it for our RENA goals, it's an 8-year, 21 to 29, and we're supposed to produce 45,580 housing units. And so we're basically halfway through and have produced 23% of our goals. I had asked this before, and I appreciate Maple saying this. Yes, I understand there are no penalties, but I think we should probably spend the time educating and letting our assembly member and our senator know where we're at, because Sacramento was one of the first pro-housing cities, and we've done the most to streamline and make it easy to produce. But sometimes I think what gets lost in this conversation, we could be the easiest place to build, but we're not in control of tariffs. We're not in control of interest rates. We're not in control of construction costs. We're not in control of labor costs. So even if we as a city do everything right, we may see housing production go down because of a potential recession and the state of the economy. And what conversations are we having with our state leaders? Because I know they're pressuring us for more housing, but there's truly only so much we as electeds can do. And I want to make sure that we're also telling the story. We've done things, but don't punish us for what are factors outside of our hands. And I think while your report is great, part of it is it's missing there are things that are out of our hands that are making it such that, well, we have these goals, and we as city have these goals, but I can't go to a developer and make them build. And sometimes it's as simple as that because of the supply chain also. I mean, I know, HVAC units may take a while. A year ago, builders were building in certain areas and had to put plywood up because garage doors were 6 months on back order. So I just want to make sure that we're having honest conversations with some of our state leaders of what we're facing, because the state is taking a look at this, and it always gives me a little pause that they might punish the cities for not meeting the goals, even though there are a lot of things like outside of our control. But I do want to say thank you, and I think the graph is really great that shows Sacramento is ahead of many other jurisdictions in producing. And, I know I'm growing in North Lake will be really interesting to watch as a city what happens, because I know there's several different builders within the Panhandle. One's starting, are the other ones going to start? Are we going to almost have what happened in Natomas when we hit the recession, where we had some communities that had half a street built and then it was empty, waiting for everything to come. So, as much as you can keep in contact with the developers of what are they seeing and what is the market showing them, and communicate that back to us, I think would be really helpful. But thank you.
Councilmember Dickinson.
Thanks, Mayor. I want to amplify some of the comments of other members and maybe raise a item or two. I want to first, though, thank Councilman Guerra and Councilmember Maple, I think, touched on this as well, and Sacramento Act, that we don't, to use Act's phrase, we don't live in an island. My recollection is we're about 64,000 housing units short in the Sacramento region. We're not going to provide in the city of Sacramento 64,000 housing units. We depend on everybody in the region to make this as much a priority as I think the city has, the city of Sacramento has, and I think the council and the staff deserve a great deal of credit for being as aggressive as you all have been over the last several years. It gives us a lot to build on in the city, but it also gives us some, I think, standing to try to persuade our fellow elected officials and others in the region that everybody needs to be part of the solution, and including the state, by the way. I wanted to turn to a couple of specific things. I am a great advocate of adaptive reuse. And in 1999, the City of Los Angeles adopted an adaptive reuse for downtown Los Angeles. Over the first 20 years of this century, if I recall the numbers, there were about 36,000 new housing units in downtown Los Angeles. About 13,000 of those housing units came through adaptive reuse. It's something that I spent a lot of time on the last few years writing legislation that was not successful. The mayor spent time on it, trying to encourage it to happen through the state of California that run into challenges. But we have, I think, some real opportunities in the city of Sacramento if we make it as easy as possible, as reasonably possible, to pursue those projects, because they do have obviously challenges of their own, as you well know. If we haven't looked at a specific ordinance or approach related to adaptive reuse, I think that would be worth our time and effort. So I'll leave that there. I think it was last year, I recall attending an ADU workshop that was done at Grant High School. And got a great turnout. I think there were easily in excess of a couple hundred people there. I think it demonstrated the interest. I don't know how many of those people actually became folks who developed ADUs or will develop ADUs, but and we've seen this all over the state, the popularity of ADUs, and obviously state law has set out a lot of prescriptions for ADUs, but they are one of the most feasible parts of solving the need to develop more housing units that I think we have in the array of what can be done. And so if we can make people through the things like that workshop understand and appreciate how they can have an ADU potentially, education is the start. And so I would really encourage, to the extent that you have capacity, to think about doing more of those even going back to places where you've gone before, because you'll get a new and different audience, I think, in many instances. So I encourage that as something that we can do to help stimulate more ADU production. We also have instances where people are incorporating tiny homes on their property. 2 or 3 or 4, and they're not full-fledged ADUs. They're the couple hundred square feet or so, and there may be some opportunities there. In some cases, some of us are familiar with a woman by the name of Robin Moore, who's done a wonderful job of exactly that, and for temporary housing purposes. And so they may be permanent, more likely temporary, but again, they're part of that housing solution, it seems to me. I'd like to see us, as a city, to the extent that we're not doing it already, reach out to regional transit and say, you know what, you've got some big parking lots that are just parking lots. Those parking lots have air rights, and there's a real potential there for joint development. Regional transit has tried over the years with limited success to pursue joint development projects, but maybe if we combined and reinforced through the City of Sacramento regional transit's efforts, to the extent again that we're not already doing so, maybe we can give a little shot in the arm to getting those in the development community looking at those kinds of projects. And by the way, those aren't just potential additions to the housing stock. They also fit all our other goals in environmental, climate, and activity, vitality. If you look at the Marconi Light Rail Station or the Swanston Light Rail Station, they are about as underutilized as they could possibly be. They are real opportunity sites. And for me, speaking also of opportunity sites, looking at city-owned vacant land, it seems to me to be the proverbial no-brainer. And yes, we have to follow the Surplus Land Act, of course, but whatever the opportunities that might present themselves, what are the opportunities for either being faithful to the Surplus Land Act, nonetheless, execute long-term leases on those properties for very minimal amounts of money, or selling them at some level of discount that reduces the cost burden to develop. We've talked about the things we don't control, quite rightly. We don't control interest rates, all the things that have been enumerated here. But we do have some opportunities potentially to remove some cost elements or reduce cost elements for production that could make housing feasible in a very difficult market where other forces actually work against housing production. I think it makes sense for us to explore those, and I think we've got in a number of places in the city, enormous opportunity for mixed use on our commercial corridors that incorporate significant components of housing in them. What are we doing to really underscore that we'd like to see that kind of development? Because again, that serves not only providing additional housing units, but it serves our other goals, creating vital and revitalized communities, vitality in areas, stimulating customers, providing businesses with new customers, and revitalizing those efforts, as well as helping us meet our environmental goals and aspirations. So I think notwithstanding the good things we're doing, our responsibility is not to say, you know what, look at us, we're doing a good job. It's to say what better and what more can we do, because that housing deficit is crushing, and we all know it. And I think finally, just returning to the state level, obviously there have been literally dozens of pieces of legislation over the last 5 years or so at the state level, trying to introduce opportunity and certainty into housing development to reduce time and cost. But the real the real addition that the state could make is to supply more money. I mean, whether it's tax credits or whether it's direct allocations. And so I think coming back to our legislative delegation, letting them know that we're ready, we're trying, we're doing everything we can. The best way you can help us is put some more money in the state budget that's going to support the efforts to produce housing. Those are just some of the thoughts I've got this evening on this, and I appreciate the opportunity to have this discussion both this afternoon and this evening. Thanks.
Thank you, Councilmember Kaplan. No, you went. Sorry, Councilmember Vang, I'm sorry, right here.
Thanks, Mayor. I will keep my comments short. Greta, I'd really just first want to just echo my colleagues and say thank you for all your hard work, and Greg, you and the entire team as well. I think we've been really aggressive, and we still have so much more work ahead. I just think about the time when I was on City Council in 2020 and how far we've come. We've created so many tools in the toolbox, from the ADU workshop. We were the first pro-housing city. We also launched the small developer pilot program, which you talked about. I know it was at the Pinnell Center, and it was a full house, so a lot of interest from small entrepreneurs, small developers, and so, and today we just voted on the CMFA BOLD program, right? And so I just want to give kudos to you, city staff, and the council and the mayor, previous council mayors, this council mayor, that we are doing the best that we can to really make sure that we try to reach our RHNA goals, even though we know that it's still really hard based on all the multiple factors that we have no control over. But just really want to say thank you so much. And then I just want to uplift a few things that has not yet been mentioned. I think as we do what we can with all the tools in our toolbox to build more housing to meet our RHNA goals, I just want to make sure that as we're pushing forward with all our heart and hustle, that we just don't forget something, and that's making sure that the people who are building the homes in our city also can afford to live here, right? I know a lot of that comes down to funding, right? We've had conversations about that, but I really just want to uplift that. And then the other piece, I know that we have not yet brought the mixed income housing ordinance to City Council, and looking at the mayor and just wanting to make that request, that has not yet come to council, and I think there is a majority on this council that would like to have a discussion about a mixed housing ordinance, and so wanted to uplift that as well. And then lastly, we talked about this at the 2 p.m. meeting, but really exploring a potential housing bond as well, because a big part of this is finance, and so just want to again echo what I said during the 2 p.m. meeting, in this meeting as well, since we're talking about our housing element progress report, is that this housing bond, if we choose to move forward, should be a part of this discussion as well. And so those are all my comments. Thank you.
Councilmember Guerra, back to you. One
Sorry
more time.
about that, Mayor. I forgot that I didn't. This was review, comment, and provide some direction. And thank you, Councilmember Dickinson. You reminded me on one of my notes, and that is that in the past we, in many iterations, in our efforts to try to figure out how to move forward, whether either loans, financing, permitting, priorities, I wanted to underscore one of those pieces that was commercial corridor revitalization. Primarily because we also have high transit routes in those areas, whether it's the 51 on Stockton Boulevard or the 83 on Broadway. So I just, I don't know where it fits in this category. I know we've put it in our general plan, but as for the purposes of this conversation, when we're developing, or staff is developing priorities or recommendations, I think there needs to be at least a recognition or a higher priority for the housing development on commercial corridor or commercial corridors. That'll meet both of our goals. And then finally, maybe this is it's in our policy platform, but maybe it's for the chair of Law and Ledge, but we're going through the budget process. REAP 2.0 has not been in the conversation. That's the Green Mean Go money, and as Mr. Sunderland says, the wet stuff never gets attention. The sewer, water, drainage, and before you can even build a door, those costs eat into the ability to even build anything up. So I would just ask that if staff could work with our Law and Ledge Committee to get at least some letter and some advocacy out early on the REAP 2.0 piece, because for a city like ours that isn't a greenfield development city, that is the major cost for any construction. So thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Just a few things I'd like to add. Most were noted already by the council, but just the big perspective is this obviously is a top city issue, if not the housing and homelessness, the combination of the two, and they're of course linked together. And there's a lot of strategies. We'll talk about the next one in a little bit with the streamlining, what we can do as a city, but these are some of the policy tools. And so I just wanted to note, as Councilmember Vang said, the prior city councils, took some really tough votes on this. Let me just give you a little perspective. So when I was just in the legislature, we had these big bills to change housing laws in California. And my colleagues across the state, especially in LA, were freaking out. Like, if I vote for this, this is going to cause me to lose my election. It's that much heat in their cities. And they asked me, like, why aren't you concerned about this? And I said, well, Sacramento already did all this. So we did SB 9 and 10, the lot splits, all these issues, getting rid of the illegality of triplexes and duplexes and the single-family zoning rules well before a lot of these state laws. So I just want to give hats off to former, I think, Councilmember Hanson helped lead on this, along with our mayor and Councilmember Guerra and Jennings, I think right before you got here, Councilmember Vang. So this was heavy lift that the city lifted in this. And again, the city didn't fall apart. Our numbers, they're not like they were in 2006, but they weren't terrible in those 5-year stretch. And so this did help us. So, but also just a little bit of a big picture perspective as well. Those SB 9 and 10, those generational bills to focus on lot splits, commercial properties. Over those 5 years in California, they've only had like 500 homes being built because of them. So it's not a panacea. Even our laws here, we've probably built 10 times more ADUs than what we've done on these other policies. So based upon our numbers here. So we have a lot of work to do, and I think you already have some directions. I just want to reiterate a few things in three issues. Is that one, on the Sacramento being a pro-housing city, we've, like I said a minute ago, we've done a lot. But keep pushing us. Make it uncomfortable for us. Make us tell you no. Make us say that's a little stretch too far. I know you went to the Planning Commission a few months ago, and there's one issue that didn't get across the finish line. I forget which one it was, but you were going to come back to us and have a revision of that. So whatever policies we can do to keep pushing the envelope to make developers get off the sidelines and want to do projects here in our city, keep coming to us. And then as far as the funding measure, I concur. I would prefer that we not do a bond, but a dedicated year after year revenue stream. That's what some cities have done. San Jose, some Bay Area cities, Los Angeles. So those would have to go back to the voters as well. A bond's just a one-time thing. I'd like to have a continuation of ongoing money, which you could bond against, of course. And so I want to direct staff, if you can look at some of these models that jurisdictions have done. There's parcel tax, sales tax, other types of options. If you could kind of give us a menu of ideas that we could consider for an upcoming ballot. And, we're already talking to some in the housing advocacy and real estate arena, focus on what would be viable, build a coalition to do that here in Sacramento. And then lastly, just want to note that the inclusionary zoning mixed income, which the prior council you all had worked on before, I just recently asked our city manager, and we're still doing the analysis on that. So that should be coming shortly. So that's in the horizon as well. So I think this gives us plenty of opportunity to keep pushing the envelope, and thank you very much. And with that, this was informational. Direction was provided. Thank you. Next item.
We move to item 12, which was Streamline Sacramento, an update on the city's development process improvements program.
right. Good evening, Mayor, council members. I'm Matt Hurdle, Assistant Director of Community Development. So spearheaded by Mayor McCarty and Councilmember Pluckybaum, Streamline Sacramento is the city's development process improvements program. This evening, I'll provide an update. I'll highlight actions underway and discuss next steps. Streamline Sacramento is a 2025 initiative that is evaluating each step in the development approval process, with the goal of identifying ways to increase efficiencies, speed up approval times, and provide more certainty to the process. So the two parts in the development process is first planning and then building. While significant streamlining has occurred in recent years to the planning entitlement process, the city is now seen as a statewide leader. Streamline Sacramento is focused on the 4 steps of the building approval process shown in blue. First, submit a complete building permit application with plans and construction drawings that are in full compliance with the building code. Second, receive a building permit to initiate construction. Third, complete on-site inspections of each construction phase to ensure the work is safe, adheres to the approved plans, and meets building code. And ultimately, receive final approvals, allowing the building to be occupied. It's been a busy few months. We hired a permanent chief building official, conducted 6 meetings with the development community to solicit ideas, established an internal working group consisting of the 5 departments that review development projects, and developed the Streamline Sacramento Potential Actions Table. It's a collection of input and suggestions received to date. The table is attached to the staff report and is categorized by the step in the building process. So potential actions at different phases of vetting, from exploring to implementing, instituted, or ongoing. And I'll just touch upon a couple examples highlighted in orange from each of the 5 categories. 92% of the building's business is conducted online, but sometimes customers need to speak face-to-face with a staff member or drop off a check. The public counter appointment system has been working well, but we are working on allowing additional walk-in customers without appointments and notifying folks of this convenient option. Development-related vacancies impact service delivery. A quarter of the positions are currently vacant in the building and engineering services divisions. We are working with our hiring managers and human resources to identify barriers and quickly fill these critical positions. We are exploring AI tools to potentially reduce plan review cycles and help ensure complete application packages are submitted the first time. Also exploring implementing a self-certification program, which could potentially allow registered professionals to bypass the plan review process by taking responsibility for and certifying a project's compliance with building code standards. The city has implemented fee deferral and fee reduction programs that are quite popular, and we've been asked to provide info sheets on all the available programs early in the process. Approved by council early this evening, the BOLD program provides another tool to finance impact fees and public infrastructure. We are in the process of entering into a contract for virtual inspection software for remote inspections, which will integrate seamlessly with Excella, the city's development project management software. We've heard from the development community about the importance of consistent building code interpretation from each inspector. We are exploring contracting out the certificate training programs and exam preparations for various disciplines, such as plumbing and electrical. This could expedite training completion and free up more senior staff to be in the field. Staff is moving forward with an alternative option to temporary certificate of occupancy. Safes to Stock would allow installation of equipment and furniture and the opportunity to train staff prior to final inspection sign-off and the space being occupied. We are considering updating the building division's minor permit process and developing a building permit checkbox form that an applicant can self-certify and instantly receives a building permit for minor permits. Compliance with the building code could then be verified through virtual or an in-person inspection. So over the next couple of months, we'll continue to gather input via informational interviews and industry group convening and meetings with the development community. We anticipate returning to City Council in the summer with a list of accomplishments, concrete next steps, and an overview of an additional resources required to advance this work. That concludes my presentation. There are members from the city's internal working group here to address any questions you may have. Thank you very much.
Thank you for your presentation, Matt. I want to ask if Joe Yee, could you come up to the podium while Mr. Yee's coming up here? I'll introduce him. He's a former council member, by the way, former planning commissioner, and enjoying his life in the building industry. So I asked Joe and Councilmember-elect Pluckybaum to help me work on this issue, because one thing that I learned, frankly, building an ADU by myself, but also talking about this issue of housing and homelessness, there are so many things, as Councilmember Kaplan said, they're out of our control. And for the better part of a year, I said this over and over. I didn't mention tariffs because that wasn't something I had in mind, that our president would be ruining the economy with tariffs. But, cities don't control interest rates, labor costs, wood and concrete and steel, but we do control time and certainty. So I thought it could be our competitive advantage to step in and do this. And this is not new. You helped do this a decade ago under our former city manager. Oh, boy. Yeah. Ron Emsley. Yeah, there's something that we could do to really, put us at a competitive advantage. I think first and foremost is we're listening, and we've heard that, and I want you to kind of elaborate on that just by engaging the development community, whether they're big developers, people doing conversions of their backyards, or people trying to open, a business, in different parts of town, trying to make it easier for all sorts. And so it's something that I thought a lot about. Multiple council members said the same thing. We all hear from people in their communities, like, why is it so difficult? And whether it's someone who's doing work because they live here in Sacramento, or they're making a choice. Maybe they're going to do a project in Vacaville or Sacramento or El Dorado Hills, and they're thinking about places to go and where they could shift capital. So this is our opportunity to really start this process. There's not one thing that we're going to do. It's multiple things. We did the bold item earlier, but it's our hope this is a continual effort to look for ways and keep listening and keep refining to make sure that we're listening to our development community, not just so they can do well, but so we can do well. More money in our tax coffers so we don't have to focus on cutting our city budget, and more opportunities to build more housing so we can deal with the number one issues of the community, housing and homelessness. So with that, I wanted to give you the opportunity. I know you weren't preparing for this tonight, but just to give your perspective on this effort, your 2.0 streamline effort.
Well, excuse me. Well, thank you. The allergies, it's been said that everything grows in Sacramento. That's a good, and for allergy sufferers, that's maybe the counterpoint. The focus of this effort has been to support housing, but equally important is the support of housing. The other businesses, the restaurants, and what have you, they all benefit from this process of trying to make the building permit process of value and of efficiency. Part of the challenge is that there is a range of experience and knowledge of those who are seeking building permits. It is from a person, a developer, wishing to build a 300-unit apartment project to the one-time homeowner building an ADU, to the kitchen or bathroom remodel. There's a range of knowledge and experience that are present on any one of those types of projects, and to be able to respond to those, in an efficient manner is part of the challenge. And as Matt had mentioned, in response to that is the outreach, not just to large organizations, to large groups, but to get input from the range of people who go and who try to get a building permit, and to respond to their needs. As Matt has said, something as simple as having the cashier at the building department open more hours so that they can access and write a check. not everyone is connected technology-wise, and so that could be a meaningful change that's not necessarily, an increase in the overhead costs of the department. While the building permit process is focused rightly on technical compliance, these are life safety issues greatly. As a retired architect, I would be remiss in not saying that it is also important to assure compliance with the design guidelines. These are projects, when they are completed, that we as a city will live with for 20, 30, 40, 50 years. And so to not be prescriptive, not to say this is the way to do it, but provide flexibility, which the design guidelines do, it's important to have that check off to say this is within reason compliance. And so, those are just a few of my observations and why I support and working towards trying to get as efficient a process that is accessible to all, why, prompted my involvement.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for your volunteerism. Voluntold.
Thank you.
Yes. Mr. Pluckybaum.
Just don't escape just yet. Before we let you go, I want to acknowledge one more thing, which is that you were the city's longest-serving planning commissioner for more than a decade. How many years all in? More than a decade. Let's just.
I think somewhere in order of 20 or more.
Yeah. And this is, for those paying very close attention, me telegraphing an item that's coming to an agenda in the near future where we talk about the size and configuration of our Planning and Design Commission. One of the opportunities that Joe and I had was to go to Seattle and Portland and meet with those communities a decade ago about what things we could do to improve the quality and the kind of projects that come to us. And one of the learnings was they have a very dedicated, established, long-term planning commission that is focused on making sure that some of these things take decades. You think about what's happening at Folsom and 65th right now. Councilmember Cohen was working on some of that stuff 30 years ago. The Innovation District and it's coming and it's happening now. And Councilmember Guerra is here, reaping the rewards of these seeds that were planted decades ago, and having folks committed to doing this work for that duration of time. So because of term limits, we can't allow folks to serve for that long unless, of course, we make a change. So I just wanted to acknowledge Joe's continued service in all of this and use you an example of what works well when we have people committed to our land use and entitlement process for decades to come. Thank you, Joe.
Thank you, and I appreciate the opportunity. Thank you.
As has been discussed a few times tonight, there are several elements that go to the cost of building, land, materials, labor, lending, but the regulatory environment is the one thing that we have sole discretion on. This is an opportunity for us to streamline wherever possible. Matt or Greg, whoever's the right person to talk about counter hours, could we get one or both of you to talk about when an applicant comes forward with a question, how can they go to 300 Richards and get those questions answered in a efficient and meaningful way? Matt, it is.
All right, thank you, Councilmember. Yes, so we have staff that are available via email, phone, and of course we have a lot of information on the web 24/7. But in terms of in-person hours, we have appointments available Tuesday through Thursday, 9 to 3:30, and we offer 2 slots, each half an hour for that, but we're going to be opening it up to drop in. So folks that have something they just need resolved right away, don't have time or not able to make an appointment, they can come and just do that. In addition, we have our cashier open on Monday and Friday as well. So a lot of folks need to, pay their final fees to get their building permit issued. We have that available on Monday and Friday as well. And so what we've heard that these hours are working for folks, but we're open to ideas. But we're going to start with the ideas that we've been talking with the various development communities, just allowing more drop-in and really advertising that ability.
And whether I'm a rookie, first-time developer, home remodeler, or a pro, you've got everyone there in one place. I've been there. It's amazing. One-stop shopping. You can get all your questions answered. So these are the kinds of things we're looking to, wherever possible, collapse timelines, create more certainty, reduce overall cost, and just unbundle these costs from our housing and other built environment wherever possible. I just want to say thank you, all of you, for working on this, and the mayor for leading this initiative. I look forward to exceeding our RENA goals.
Thank you. Council Member Vice Mayor Talamantes.
Thank you. Councilmember Plucky-Baum asked my question about the over-counter hours. I just want to make sure that people can stop in and we have more open hours, maybe in the late afternoon, maybe up to 5, 6 p.m. For people to be able to drop in. I have heard from people that they would like to see that extended. So that's just my direction. That's it.
Thank you, Mayor. First and foremost, just really want to thank you and thank Councilmember Plucky-Baum and our incredible staff for bringing this forward. I can't tell you how many times I heard, either on the campaign trail or since I've been in office, some series of complaints or questions or concerns related to navigating the process. And I don't think that's a fault of any one person. I don't think it's a fault of us having a bad department. I just think it's really challenging, and we have a lot of different projects that need to happen, but I'm appreciative of you reaching out to the stakeholders, the people with expertise who have gone through the process, and asking them, what do you want to see? Because I think that's the best way for us to solve the problems, is by actually asking the people who are going through it. One of the things that I don't know if we've considered or if we're already doing, but that I would be really interested in as a part of this process is doing some kind of customer service survey. Like, I think there's something that goes out pretty regularly, but I think it'd be great for us to also do a look back that could tell us a lot that we might not have already heard in the meetings that you have had, which is, over the last, 3 years, 5 years, how many people have submitted an application? How many of those applications have actually made it to completion? Of the ones who didn't make it to completion, is there a reason for that? Could we ask them, did you not complete because you ran into some issues with us? Some challenges with the department, whatever it may be, did you not complete for some other reason? And then of the people who were able to complete, it'd be really interesting to know timelines too. How long did it take you? Because I've heard everything. Usually people reach out to me once they've encountered a problem, so I'm not hearing, just like Yelp, people don't usually go on there when they're happy about something, right? They usually reach out to us when they're frustrated. And so, I think it'd be really good for us to really take that customer service approach and look at some of that data and see if there are things that we can learn from that too. Like, I don't even know what the possibilities are, but I can just tell you from my experience, some of the issues that people have run into is usually like, hey, I've submitted all my things, and then, I had an inspector come out and they told me to fix these 5 things, and so I fixed those 5 things, and then the next time an inspector came out, they told me to fix 5 different things that I didn't know about. And so sometimes there's frustration around that, but I also recognize that, that things change and there's inspections at different points in time for different reasons, and that can add to the complication. But anyway, just my main point is I think this is a great program. I think it's thank you, Mayor and Councilmember Plucky-Baum for following through on your commitments too very quickly and bringing something forward really quickly. And just thank you to the staff for working on this. I know a lot of this are things that you probably had in the works for a while too, and bringing it all together is great. And so those are my comments. Thanks.
Thank you, Mayor. I wasn't going to punch up here because everything has been said, but I did want to just again commend Commissioner Yee here, because I do remember being the student body president at Sac State lobbying. Back then, I think you were appointed by Councilmember Jimmy Yee as the commissioner that got going a project that everybody said it will never be done. It could not happen. They were the old warehouses, the Jackson property warehouses on 65th Street, and May Fong was there lobbying with us too, and thinking about what can we actually do and was it going to improve that area as well. So I wanted to commend them, and then also I would be remiss if I didn't thank the staff. Like that, we're doing this project now because we need improvement, but in 2015 and 2016 and 17, we did the permit streamlining initiative and process. And given the frustrations we have today, I still hear from the development community, and I won't throw stones to other jurisdictions that say that as much as that they want to see things better, we're doing much better than some of our other jurisdictions in the region. So I do feel very proud of the work that we've been doing. We could always improve, so always looking ourselves in the mirror. But let's not forget that we're actually doing a lot better, which the prior item shows how we're producing housing and moving much faster, the step-down process that we've done on a lot of these efforts. So thank you, Mr. Mayor, and more to come.
Thank you.
So Mayor, I have two speakers on this item, Alexander Hampton and Kurt Fiera.
Oh, we jumped the gun. I did. Got excited.
Good evening, Council, Mayor, Vice Mayor. My name is Alexander Hampton. I'm with the North Cal Carpenters. And the Development Process Improvement Program. Want to know if this is an earned benefit. We know that Sacramento gives everything to the developer and the building owners. There were 6 meetings with developers, and I want to know when or where did they have these meetings with the stakeholders and the community. Streamlining is great, but it needs to be on an earned incentive, not just a giveaway. Labor standards, healthcare, apprenticeship, local hire, and the private right to access projects should be included in this benefit. This streamlined process needs to favor the workers. To conclude, will this help the commuter or just the owners and developers? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Kurt?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor and City Council members. My name is Kurt Ferreira. I've been a union carpenter for 23 years, and I've lived in the city of Sacramento for 41 years. I'd like to highlight a few points that should be taken into consideration while discussing this item. For starters, a livable wage is important to workers who are building our city. By not paying a livable wage, we as workers are unable to live in the city. We would like to afford a home, but if you are not paid a livable wage, then how are we able to afford a home in this beautiful city of Sacramento? We don't want the city to be just for the wealthy. Moving on to my next point is health care. I don't believe anyone in this room can deny the importance of health care coverage. I've spoken to countless construction workers in Sacramento who said they don't see a doctor because they don't have health insurance. The ones who do have health insurance say they're on government subsistence, which in turn costs taxpayers millions of dollars. We as the city of Sacramento need to make sure that all workers who are building our cities have access to health care. Lastly, in June of 2002, I joined the Carpenters Union Apprenticeship Program. Joining the Carpenters Union has made me a better person and a skilled carpenter. The opportunity and training I received was life-changing. That has brought me to where I am today. By making sure the city and contractors are doing their part by utilizing apprenticeship on their projects, you are investing in the future workforce by providing the necessary training. I'm urging the City Council to take what I said into consideration when making their decision on streamlining projects. If we are streamlining developments, then the city should make sure workers who will be building the city are not left behind. If developers are getting their projects streamlined, we should consider healthcare, apprenticeship, local hire, livable wages, and the workforce.
Thank you for your comments. Your time is complete.
Thank you.
Mayor, I have no more speakers.
Okay, thank you. That concludes this item.
So, Mayor, you move to council comments, ideas, questions, and AB 123 reports.
Okay. Councilmember Maple.
All right, Mayor, I've got a few exciting announcements. First, we have the Oak Park Farmers Market. So every Saturday from now until November, come by McClatchy Park and Oak Park to visit our farmers market, made possible by the wonderful Food Literacy Center. So the Oak Park Farmers Market double matches EBT to allowing folks to get access to fresh produce, so please don't miss out. come grab some veggies. They have really good food. The hummus over there is unmatched. Come check it out. Maybe I'm announcing this in advance. I know the mayor is doing this, but I am so excited about it that I'm going to announce it for you. The Hollywood Park meet and greet with your mayor, Kevin McCarty, is going to be at the Two Rivers Cider, which is at 4311 Ottawa Avenue on April 23rd at 6 p.m. I will be there because I never miss an opportunity to go to Two Rivers Cider. That's in my neighborhood, and we'll be there. So come talk to the mayor. Come tell him about the things that you care about because he has been on his listening tour and he cares and wants to listen to you. And those are my announcements. Thank you.
This is my first listening to our meeting.
Councilmember Vang?
Thank you. Just first, a few shout out. This past weekend, we had Earth Day throughout the entire city. And so we actually had 2 events in District 8 and just really want to take this opportunity to say thank you to all the volunteers that came out to both of the site. One was at Freeport Park. We did some mulching, some cleanup in Meadowview. And so just shout out to our incredible city staff, Sarah from the Office of Climate Action, Sustainability, and also Ignacio from YPSI. And then we also had another Delta Shores cleanup at the detention basin. So really just want to thank on-site city staff, Lisa and Fernando from DOU. And then also want to just let y'all know that this Saturday, is the Meadowview Egg Hunt at the Pinnell Pool, right? So it's happening this Saturday from 1 to 4, encouraging all the kiddos to come out and families to come out. It should be a really fun event. And then I just actually had a request to the mayor, actually, to see if we could agendize in closed session an evaluation of our city attorney. If possible, because we have not evaluated our city attorney, and I know we requested that during P&P, so just looking at Chair of P&P and our mayor as well, because I believe our city manager's contract is past due. And our city attorney. And so I just want to make sure that that gets on the calendar somehow, so just looking at the mayor and our Chair of P&P to make sure that we get an evaluation in closed session. Thank you so much. That's it. Thank you.
Okay, Councilmember Kaplan.
Thank you, Mayor. I think I did my AB 1234, that I'm on the Cal Cities Housing and Economic Development, but if I forgot, this is my AB 1234. I'm on the committee. We had a meeting. I really appreciate that they partnered with the Rev and Tax Committee as well to look at different opportunities. So this conversation tonight for housing and what cities can do was very timely, but it is something that Cal Cities is exploring and looking at the state of providing more benefits when you look at tax and revenue and housing and how can we make it more streamlined and affordable. Mark your calendars on April 19th at the North Natomas Community Center. There is an underwater egg hunt. Be aware there is, because it is coming into the aquatic center. There will be a small cost, so make sure you register. It isn't free because you will be allowed to use the aquatic center facilities, but my staff and I will be there handing out goodie bags and some other items. And then April 16th is the Westlake Food Truck Mania, so come on out, enjoy the community, and look forward to seeing everybody there. Thank you, Mayor.
Councilmember Jennings.
Thank you, Mayor. Just wanted to let my colleagues know that this past Saturday, we had the Easter egg hunt at Garchevin Park. We had hundreds and hundreds of kids. The mayor was able to join us. Assembly member Wynn was out there as well, and just had a great time out there with the kids. They found out of the 4,000 eggs that were out there, they found the 4 golden eggs. And so those kids that found them got a present for each one of them. But I want to just give a shout out to the Greenhaven Pocket Soccer Club volunteers who put all those eggs out and set everything up and made the kids have a great time before Easter. So just want to shout out to them, to thank them for making this a wonderful event. And if you go on our website, you'll see the aerial drone view of the event. It's going to be on there in the next 24 hours. So wait 24 hours before you go, but it's something to see. And then we also had a farmer's market on this past Sunday with lots of vendors out there with incredible goods. I spent more money than I had. I had to use my Zelle in order to spend more money than I had. But anyway, I really appreciate them bringing that to the community because it adds value to our community when we can get together and shop together and eat together and then talk together. So many great things happen when we're able to come together to make have a good time. So thank you, Mayor.
Mayor Pro Tem Guerra?
Thank you very much, Madam Clerk and Mayor. I wanted to announce two events and then one comment. Number one, we're going to have the 18th annual Sports for Life soccer tournament. This is folks that are in their 50 plus who are ready to play soccer and they're going to do it at Granite Regional Park. Yeah, 50 plus. This is people who are here to win it, and it'll be starting off at 8 a.m. on Saturday. The tournament goes till Sunday, and then right after that, take a run over to Land Park because SPCA, located proudly in District 6, is going to have their doggy dash, and so come out and support our little furry friends. Now, just remember, this is not a race. We're walking with our dogs. No pulling your dog, but come out and support your little furry friend at the doggy dash at Land Park as well. So those are my two big events. Oh, I do want to just remind folks that we do have two neighborhood association meetings this week. On Wednesday at 6:30 is our Elmhurst Neighborhood Association online, and then on Thursday we have the Colonial Heights monthly neighborhood association meeting. It starts at 6:30. 6:30 to 7 is the social hour at Luigi's Pizza. So if you want some great pizza on Stockton Boulevard, come to Luigi's Pizza, and then we'll get down to the order of business at 7:30. So those are the events for today. Mayor and council, first I wanted to take this time to really thank our Sacramento firefighters and the firefighters and medics at Station 10. 10 is in District 6 off of 66th and Fruit Ridge. I spent the last 48 hours there and learned immense. And even after the last 10 years of being here, we see the reports, we see our budgets, we see our policies that we're moving through, and we interact a lot with the chief and the deputy chiefs. But spending the time there, was just personally very emotional. Seeing what they do for our own neighborhoods and even people in need in my own block where I live. I want to take this time publicly to thank right off the bat. I'll start with Medic 10 here, firefighter Ryan Hutchinson, who really talked about his journey and how he's seen the evolution of getting into the fire department. I want to thank firefighter Jonathan Anderson, who was a coach at the College Glen Little League. And really thank you, Mayor, for the new scoreboard that we have there at College Glen Little League. But he and I and the others worked over the last decade when his kid was in T-ball to be able to improve that field and really make it what it is on top of being a firefighter. And also firefighter Mackenzie Roques, who came in to relieve him in another mandatory shift, another mandatory overtime. They were running the medic team and talked a lot about the issues of wall time. Do want to, thank, firefighters Paul Murray and Joseph Captain, who are part of Truck 10. And let me tell you, they have some mustaches to envy. And I tried to join in on it, but I could not rival them, as you can see, I let go of my beard and got rid of the mustache today, but I want to shout out for them for the midnight runs that we had together. And also want to thank, Tyler, firefighter Tyler Pearson and firefighter Scott Pierce, who were on Engine 10. They responded to a cardiac arrest to one of my neighbors as well. The person was able to get up and get into the ambulance after that support. And so I really appreciate their immediate responsiveness. Two shout outs to our two engineers, Eric Wiggins and engineer Eric Wiggins and engineer Aaron Williams. So always confusing the Pearson, the Pearsons, and the Erics with the Aarons. But engineer Aaron Williams and Eric Wiggins, because when you have to wake up at 3:30 in the morning, everybody else gets to sleep a little bit longer on the truck as they're moving, but they have to drive that truck after getting up. And so I really want to appreciate them for that. We were on a water rescue on the American River at 3:30 in the morning. And so, fortunately for us, another engine came in to relieve us, so we got to go back after that and didn't spend the whole night there. And then wanted to finally, thank the leadership of our captains there. Captain Marco Mejia, who I spent a lot of time with, and in fact, he took the time to discuss a couple issues on how our vehicles move through, as we were talking about housing and apartments and permitting, how we actually can get a truck and a medic through, and sometimes our design and plans make it so difficult with only 6 inches between each side to get those trucks in through the security gates, and then when they're trying to respond to a cardiac arrest, because we did, what those issues affect. And even on some of the buildings like the new Starbucks, the challenges that they face when they're walking on the roofs and saying, the structure, when we see a structure like this, we can fall through. And Captain Matt Gonzalez talked about his experience when he fell through the roof and caught himself by the arms. I want to thank, Captain Ryan, I'm going to mess this up, Concanado and Captain Marco Mejia as well for their leadership in talking about their experience. And all of them, after I got the chance to leave at 48 hours, all had a mandatory overtime to fill out 72, an additional 24 after I went home. So I want to thank them as well. And Captain Justin Silva, who showed me the regulation about beards. And before I got my start, shaved off that beard for the room. So thank you, City Manager and Mayor and Council. And I also want to thank, I see Ryan Henry in the audience for that time there. Thank you.
Okay, Councilmember Vice Mayor Talamantes.
And Mayor Pro Tem Guerra beat the record. He did 48 hours.
Yes.
The last time when I did it a year ago, I was like, oh, I set the record, 24 hours and 30 minutes. And then somebody else set a record, and then
26.
somebody else. 26. So now we got 48 hours. So kudos, Mayor Pro Tem Guerra.
Yeah.
Thank you, Councilmember Talamantes. But I forgot to congratulate two new individuals, and this deserves a big round of applause. And here, Medic 609, Kevin McNeil and Justin Williams, who graduated on Friday. Councilmember Rick Jennings and Mai Vang were there at the graduation for our first single role there, and Assistant City Manager, Interim City Manager Lainey Milstein was there. Let's give a big round of applause to our recent graduates and their first weekend on the job, Kevin McNeil and Justin Williams, who responded to a number of emergency services. They didn't even get a weekend off. They went the next morning right to work. So thank you, Mayor and Council.
Yeah, I just want you to know, Councilmember, that we'll be doing a 48-hour this summer, and we'll probably get a mandatory overtime, so we're going to do 72.
How many 72?
Just letting you know. Just letting you know.
Mayor, you should do it on 4th of July.
Okay. Okay. Uh-oh.
48-hour on
Just a whole week. Just a whole week. I'll miss council. Okay. With that, public comment.
Thank you, Mayor. I have 16 speakers for public comment matters not on the agenda. I'm going to call off a few names. Stacy Baradit, Mac Worthy, Jan Goring, David Johnson, Jeffrey Tardaguia, Barry Marcus.
I have to go to Dave's fundraiser. I'll leave them both there.
For the opportunity to speak. I'm here to address the rollout of SAC-RT's new AI-based enforcement program around bus stops. As someone who professionally implements AI features in public safety software, I understand the critical importance of careful applications when deploying technology in nuanced human context, especially in public service. Let me highlight how this fallout has fallen short using my personal experience. We live at 3311 Franklin Boulevard with the bus stop just 25 feet from our property. SAC-RT defines the bus zone as 60 feet in front of our home. And that covers our entire property, including our driveway. Yet there's no parking signs, marked curbs, nothing to indicate that this is a restriction. As you can imagine, we've been getting tickets. There was a trial period, but during the trial period, the citation warnings were issued, but there's an issue, I guess, with the post. They were issued, I think, back in January is what we've seen, and they showed up in our mail 2 weeks ago. So we didn't have a chance to actually address this in a timely manner before the tickets started coming in. As of this morning, SACRT has indicated that they'll resolve the specific manner for our family, but this addresses just one case amongst potentially others. On Franklin in particular, the variation of signage at bus stops is huge. Some have signs that say no parking, some have marked curbs, some have bus parking brackets, some have all three, some have none. How do you expect people to have the clarity to comply, even if they're willing? I want to emphasize that when implementing AI-generated enforcement, resulting in expensive $112 tickets that arrive 3 weeks after the violation, proper due diligence is essential. This should include working with homeowners, reviewing bus stop placements, and ensuring adequate, comprehensible signage. In cases where the standard 60-foot restriction is impractical, SACRT should have proactively worked with affected residents. Lastly, AI is powerful but not nuanced. It's a tool. It is not a replacement for proper due diligence policy and implementation of policy, and citizens shouldn't be part of the collateral damage due to lack of proper due diligence. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Thank you for your comments. Mac Worthy?
Madam Vice Mayor, may I quickly? My chief of staff is in the room in the back here, ma'am. We'd love to talk with you about this. I'm also on the RT board, so I'd love to work with you on it. So Ryan, right here, would love to talk with you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Paperweight. You really don't know where to start. Dixon, you got a long road before you. And to the mayor, you got a clean house. As long as this mayor, as long as this here, you ain't gonna get nothing done in this city. Clean this corruption up, and then you start a new government. All over to the fire department. And you 60 days, 6 months, and this man can't get a report on his truck burning up. Yeah, this young man, his boat. He can't even get nobody out of the boat. They telling my friend here $2,300 to get his truck back. The damn thing burned up. He wanted his equipment to go to work. What in the hell is going on with the management? This here, you got to get this trick out of here. You get all this stuff done as you get this trick out of here. She is guilty of participation with the boy that had $3,000. Who wrote that check for him for $3,000? Isn't it me? Who wrote the check for him $3,000 for an attorney? Somebody lying here. Where's our attorneys? Our attorneys can't even know when you have a violation of the Brown Act. They really don't want attorneys, they stiffs. This is a training process for attorneys in Sacramento. And I still say your previous mayor sat on the board of license of the state of California. I know what two people are we're here, but can't get to one that's still here. Because what you got to go through and tell everybody what you're going there and talk to him about. He got some information he gave us about El Grove. But I'm going to still try to get a law firm. I had somebody to check with Trey Gowdy in South Carolina. Can he get somebody here, Republican, so we can get that thing filed?
Thank you for your comments. Jan Goring? Is Jan still here? Thank you. Jan, then David Johnson, then Jeffrey Tardagia.
Thank you. Good evening. I'm the Vice President of the Shepherd Garden and Arts Center. We're located in McKinley Park at the Shepherd Garden Center. I'm here to talk to you about a problem that we're having with our fee structure for our rentals. In 2018, the board passed a resolution, and actually 3 of the people who signed that are sitting here tonight. Mr. Guerra, Mr. Jennings, and Ms. Cuppa. Thank you so much for signing this resolution. You know what you told the people of Sacramento? You told us that we could have a 50% discount on our rental rate at a community enrichment department. However, the Youth Parks and Community Enrichment this year took that away from us. We have gone from paying $17 an hour to rent the facility for all of our clubs. We have 27 clubs. Now we are going to be charged $90 an hour. We serve really the aged population, the retirees who have something to do, something to live for now. I know that the youth and parks and community are really important for youth and soccer and for baseball, but think about your life after you retire. What will give you fulfillment? Will it be learning Japanese gardening? Will it be quilting? If we have to pay $90 an hour to rent the facility, you won't be able to have a chance to join us. Please work with the youth parks and commitment. Get us back our 50% discount. We've emailed you. We look forward to hearing from you, and come out and see.
Thank you for your comments. David Johnson.
Mr. Mayor, council members, I'm David Johnson. I'm a member of the Camellia City Porcelain Artists Club at Shepherd Garden and Art Center, also a member of the Shepherd Board. The Shepherd Center was constructed for local garden and arts clubs in 1958. These days, 26 clubs meet at Shepherd with 3,000 members, average age 50. But they're threatened. Most of the 26 clubs are looking for new homes. Porcelain artists are considering a room at O'Reilly's. The Rose Society is looking at Gibbons Hall in Carmichael Park. And the reason is the city is thirsty for money. But to our club members, it feels like the city is out for our blood. From the center's earliest days, clubs have paid fees for upkeep and for maintenance on the center. Now the city's parks department, YPSI, wants a 300% increase. It's been a partnership for 70 years. Yes, the city owns the building, but the kitchen equipment purchased by the clubs. Same with the furnishings. When the Parks Department told clubs they would now have to pay $100 to use the kitchen for potluck meals, our board president reminded the YPSI representative that we owned the furnishings. The response he got? Remove the furnishings. As one arts club member said to me last Saturday, it feels like it's not just about money. They want us gone. Do the right thing. Keep our prices where they were in 2023 and 2024 with no new increases. Save the union.
Thank you for your comments. Your time is complete. Our next speaker is Jeffrey Tartagia, then Barry Marcus.
Jeffrey Tartagia, an advocate. What I say to you is I appreciate your attention. I hope the mayor will consider the factor is that 3 or 4 times he has forgotten this is the last item on the agenda. 3 or 4 times there's been more than 100 people out there that cannot get in because you've adjourned the meeting. This is directly to the mayor. Now, the rest of the consideration I will offer is, I remember before Darrell Steinberg became here, this body turned around and made for developers that we weren't going to be providing money for low income, extremely low income in the housing. This is part of the intrepidation and what's going on of why you don't have dollars to spend for low-income housing. I keep coming back to you because this body can do better. I appreciate you listening, but the last of the agenda, it needs to be moved earlier up in the agenda because, as you can see, there's people that don't make it to the end of the agenda. I have an 8 o'clock meeting tomorrow. I've missed, and like I wasn't here last meeting last week because there were other commitments and other meetings that I needed to be to. I will wait and talk with Phil over here about dealing with the transit orientating that took place last week. I didn't make it. And my time is up. You need to change the time too, because you miss out what public has to say to you.
Thank you for your comments. Barry Marcus, Donald Rickles, Josh Anderson, Kim Carter Martinez.
I'm old and a little slow, but I'll...
No problem. And I'm going to call a few names. I'm sure some people have gotten tired. So Barry Marcus, Donald Rickles, Josh Anderson.
So first, a Robert's Rules of Order matter. My agenda says speakers who wish to address the body on matters not on the agenda will have a maximum total of 8 minutes per speaker. So before I start, you need to get 8 minutes up on there.
So, sir, the rules say that you can speak on 4 agenda items for 2 minutes each with an 8-minute total. So you have 1 minute and 37 left.
That's not how I read this. How do you interpret it that way?
Sir, we're doing 2 minutes.
What?
You have 1 minute and 29 seconds left.
All right. Surveyors were out in front of my house the other day, and I said, "What are you doing out here?" They said, "We're making a topographic map." And I said, "Wait a minute, this lot is flat. There's no undulations. What's up with that?" And when I found out the reason, I was not surprised. It's because it's on a checklist from the city. The building department says, even though this lot is flat, you gotta make a topo map. And it's just so outrageous. If you look at, where it is, there's something on here that on C Street, they had to make a topo map. So that ridiculous thinking is the same thinking that went into your decision to ban coins from parking meters. That discriminates against black people who don't have bank accounts because they don't trust banks because they were redlined, and they don't have credit cards, so they're frozen from using the parking meter. So you need to come up with a much better solution that is diverse, equitable, and inclusive, so everybody can use that parking meter.
Thank you for your comments. And so, is it Donald Rickles? And sir, what was your name? Do we have Barry Marcus?
Yeah, that was me.
Don Rickles?
Don Rickles? Are you kidding me?
I don't see. Josh Anderson? Following Josh is Frank Morgan Jr., Ron Elmsley, Sean Manuel.
Good evening, council members. I come today as a crime survivor to recognize National Crime Victims Awareness Week. Here in Sacramento, I wish I could say that I was well informed of my rights as a victim throughout the process. Unfortunately, I was not. And there's a devastating effect to that in losing confidence in the system. I survived childhood sexual abuse. My father will never harm another individual in Sacramento. But I lost everything as a victim. In February, I was evicted from my house in Oak Park, lost 2 of my dogs. I've tried resources around, tried Family Justice Center, tried Cal VCB. I knew the process would never be easy. And I don't regret it. I would do it again to protect the community. But my hope is to share, as a survivor, a position I didn't expect to be in. It's very easy, I believe, for systems to normalize the process. Being around investigations like that in the court process is quite heavy. But my wish and my desire would be, I remember, it's never normal for an individual. Currently in an Airbnb, looking for resources, carrying on the best I can. I would love to share more of my story and my journey with others off the record in hopes of helping other survivors. Because the voice, the experience of survivor is worth it. Thank you for your time.
Thank you for your comments. Frank Morgan Jr., Ron Elmsley, Sean Maxwell.
Good evening, Council. I'm back again. I still have yet to get some help. You gave me your card, I called, no follow-up. Talked to Brian, no follow-up. Talked to Michael, no follow-up. Talked to Brian, no follow-up. Now I just got something about my truck, and they lien sold it. Now they're telling me that I owe $2,300. My truck was burned up. I don't know why it was towed. Nobody told me anything. I can't get any kind of records. It's crazy. You know, I'm glad I was here to hear about the Streamline Sacramento, or the Streamline. That's a good thing, because I want to convert my building into condos. Maybe it'll help give more houses to people. But it's just crazy. You know, I need some help. You know, I keep coming. You keep saying you're going to help me, but nobody's doing anything. Maybe we could get a personal meeting, you and I. We could sit down and talk so we could get something worked out. 'Cause this is crazy, you know? I'm dealing with code enforcement. I'm dealing with the fire department. I'm dealing with the police department. They tell me my truck is still under investigation. This happened in May 29th of last year. And I still don't have nothing. You know, it's crazy. You know, we here, we want to do something for our city, but we need some cooperation. We need some help. I need some help. So, you know, you keep saying you're going to do something, I need something. I'm going to keep coming back. I'm going to keep coming back anyway, because it's just a good thing to be here at the meeting, to get to be informed about what's going on in our city. But I need some help, Kathy. Bad, okay? Please. Yeah, we keep saying we're going to do something, but we're not doing it. I've got nothing. More bills, more hurt, more sorrow, more pain. How much more do we have to endure? And you're up there. You could help. But nobody's doing nothing. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. I believe Ron Elmsley is left. So Sean Maxwell? Manuel, thank you. And then Jensen Kudacha?
Good evening. Thank you. My name's Sean Manuel. And I thought it was kind of ironic to hear this the first segment about homelessness and homes, because back in October, the city of Sacramento came in and took my daughter, my son-in-law, my grandchildren's home and their business. They had a houseboat, and they lived on it. And the city took it and destroyed it. So they basically put 6 people on the streets. I've watched them struggle to try to support their family, but whatever means they could, and really work hard at it. And I watched it destroy my daughter's pregnancy. It stressed her out so much she miscarried a baby. And the whole thing has been just a nightmare. The whole family's tore up over it. Now, I'm at the end of my life, and Katie and Jensen, they're my caretakers, and my grandchildren. And I'd just really like to see something done for them. They've had just a hell of a time trying to get somebody to take care of them, take care of their loss. They should not have destroyed their boat. They could have towed that boat up to Washington, where I was at, and they were going to. But when the city came in and took it and destroyed it, that just destroyed everything they had going for them. So I'd really like to see somebody do something and fix this. It's not right. It took a family, 6 people, and put them out on the street. So, thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Jensen is our next speaker, then Noah, then Jensen Ben Ezra Jr.
Hello, City Council, Mayor. Thank you for all the work you guys been doing on the city. I know it's a challenging I see the numbers, and I can see you guys are at work and trying to get stuff approved and with all of this. But we have to, if possible, slow down a little bit and stop to resolve this issue with my family and my children, and because the city attorney has been advising wrongly. So we have a lawsuit now we're going to be filing against the city, and they put us out of the hotel that they temporarily had us in today. So right now, my kids wanted to come here. I'm not forcing them to come here. They all want to speak to you guys because it's very important to our life. I wanted to, off issue, I want to thank Ms. Milstein, the city manager, for making Howard Chan return that money because that's more what we want to see, if possible, the honesty. Right now, we're taking care of my wife's father. He's very ill. That's the reason the hotel saying the program I'm in with Brian Pedro and the DCR, they gave me this program, but they're telling me today we had to get out. We have no place to go. So actually the city of Sacramento is liable for anything that happens to my family or my children or anything that happens. They are directly liable, and the city attorney should be advising them of that because they are displacing a homeless family that was displaced due to the city making decision to take our boat. So if possible, can we get a resolution? I haven't been able to reach District 4 or the mayor.
Thank you for your comments. Noah is our next speaker. Noah, would you like the handheld microphone or the ones to your right are lower?
Oh, you can
See the ones over here?
Right here.
I want to. I want to.
Okay, say it.
I want to pass.
Thank you, Noah. Our next speaker is Jensen Ben Ezra Jr.
Thank you so much for listening to my family speak. Thank you. Goodbye.
Thank you. Our final speaker this evening is Catherine Ben Ezra.
Hello, good evening. I appreciate you guys all for staying out here and listening to us. My name is Catherine Ben Ezra. Everyone calls me Mermaid Cat. The Mermaid Ice Cream Boat was my idea. First and foremost, I'm a military Army veteran with an honorable discharge. I absolutely love my country, and I absolutely love Sacramento, California. This has been my home. Sacramento has been my family. I put my heart and my soul into this city for the past 12 years, living here, raising my kids. I was doing very well in construction until I was sexually harassed by a man that had pedophilia on his record and murder. They kept him, they kicked me out during COVID. They sold the marina, we were out there like pirates. I didn't know what else to do. We were just trying to keep a roof over our kids' head. The police told us every single day that they came to harass us for 3.5 years. That was by the city council that did not want us, that would not make any exceptions for us. There was the person that took my boat illegally. I have a video of him pulling up saying that he was there to take an abandoned boat. I was there with my daughter. I'd been there every single day. My boat was not abandoned. They had no right to take my boat. I told them I was pregnant. I told that to the police the day before they took my boat. This is harassment and discrimination. I lost a baby. It was not an easy loss. My body would not get rid of it. Sacramento, the DCR and Brian Pedro are creating the homeless families. And it's not right. We already have such a big problem with it as it is. While I was living on my boat, I was creating stages of a program that could help the homeless program, help singles, families, people with addiction, people with records, that it's hard for them to find housing, and I would like to share my ideas with you guys on a different occasion. But
Thank you for your comments. Your time is complete. So Vice Mayor, I have no more speakers.
Thank you so much for coming. This meeting is adjourned at 8:05.